What's up, y'all? Fast Forward Gaming here. We're continuing on my commentary and critique of FF7 Remake spoiler mode with Maximilian Dude, kind of going over different points that game they talked about with the game and any commentary I have, basically being a FF7 expert myself, kind of pushing back on the things that are not making sense and kind of reinforcing things that do make sense. So let's continue on. So I'm gonna try to finish the whole remake spoiler mode in this one video. Hopefully I can, because I've got a lot to go to still.
I can explain them. I'm talking to the planet. Don't fall in love with me. All that stuff does happen. She does have lines where she says, we have to go against destiny. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where this is going to lead us. I don't completely understand. Like, there is some uncertainty there, even very late into the game.
So, and I do on surface, that's like level 2. I do agree with you, Sephiroth. This shit goes deep. Are you ready? No. I know I agree with you, because I was at where you were at. I've been through this shit. It's been a crazy 48 hours. There is, and I'm going to talk about music. There is some very much story spoilery stuff that goes on with music. And the first one I'm going to say is right at the beginning. And after you meet Sephiroth, a really specific track plays. It's a track that's not in the original Final Fantasy VII. It's called The Promised Land. And it's a track that plays when Kadaj dies and at the beginning of Advent Children. And it's sort of summarizing that this is an alien. This stuff is not happening normal than what's going on. The other big one, I'm like forgetting one other, but the other big one is at the end. And this is where Sephiroth has ambiguity. At the end, Sephiroth talks completely different. When you're at the precipice of creation, like the edge of creation, yeah. Sephiroth genuinely is a different person there. Like, he's talking like to Cloud, that completely different than the way he's like super preachy and doing all this stuff like throughout the game, and he sounds
okay. So they kind of explain this a little bit in the Ultimania, that there are different versions of Sephiroth. So there is a kind of like a universal Sephiroth, and there's like local versions of Sephiroth, basically. So not all of them have the same knowledge as the rest. I don't know anything about a music track that he's talking about. I didn't notice anything from Advent Children at all. The whole Advent Children aspect, I'm not agreeing with any of that for now. But maybe he's right. I don't know. But basically, yeah, that's pretty much it.
High and mighty. He's actually talking like he knows Cloud. He's like, 7 seconds. What are you going to do with it? Like, he's a different sort of person. But the theme that's playing there, I saw this last night. And I didn't even realize it. It's the City of the Ancients theme. He's literally playing the music from City of the Ancients, where Aerith dies, in these moments where he's telling him how critical all this stuff is going to be. And he's just fucking with Cloud.
Actually, that is true. I didn't realize that. I mean, it's kind of like in that same theme or whatever. It's because it's got that, yeah. But either way, I mean, you know what happens in Rebirth, so it doesn't really seem to take into account anything yet.
And I think the whole point is that he needs to get Cloud to be as vulnerable as possible. He's setting him up to essentially fail so much harder than the original game does. Like, he knows that the original game he fails and he still dies. But it really feels like Sephiroth and his manipulator shit, which is what he does in spades in the original FF7. In later installations, he's just dude that chops up buildings and shit. And you're like, okay, Sephiroth, he's just this big crazy badass. But in FF7, he's a manipulator. And in this game, it really feels like they hammer that shit home, because he is just the entire game fucking with Cloud.
Got another question, actually. Okay, so this was the part that was like craziest to me. This is where it's like, okay, all bets are off, is when you get a flash forward to the end credits scene of Final Fantasy VII. You see Red 13 running with his child.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's like, that's
Yeah, that's actually in the original game, not really just from Advent Children, but it's from the original game.
The future if we fail today.
That's the bad end.
The bad ending, yeah.
Yeah.
The original game.
I mean, yeah, there's some interpretations that the original game's ending, what it actually is now in retro.
Well, saying failing today means if you're not changing what happens, just failing is really relative to anything, right? Depending on what's considered a success or failure. But if you're changing fate, then obviously the same outcome wouldn't occur. So it doesn't mean it's bad or good. It's just different, right?
Respect, because people just assume, oh, Advent Children's Advent Children's a direct sequel, so everyone lives. Like now, people are reevaluating the original game, saying, what if the OG timeline ending actually is humanity gets wiped out? And like
Kitase did say in an interview like a long time ago that the end of Final Fantasy VII 500 years in the future is a world devoid of humans.
So
that's a good ending to me.
Yeah, I mean,
in current situational retrospect, okay.
I love this stuff because of your point about replayability, though, Max. Like going through again and catching all this stuff, like and like it's getting people to talk about this until the next installment comes out. Because like the 7 seconds, like people are like, oh, someone timed it. That's exactly how long it takes for Sephiroth to kill Aerith in the scene.
Yeah,
game. It's 7 seconds. Like
it is.
Like,
yeah.
what will you do with that? And it's playing the music from this. Yeah, it's from that part.
However, the 7 seconds line is not referring to Aerith's death. I thought the exact same thing. I watched the videos. It was like the Reddit thread. I was like, Jesus, almost like on point. There's a hidden.
So annoying. He acts like he knows what it means. Like it was never actually said, even in the Ultimania. It said that it was referring to a specific moment in the Ultimania. It still didn't say where. It's like they didn't want to say for some reason. So maybe in the Rebirth Ultimania, when that comes out, we'll find out. But he doesn't know. Max doesn't know. He's just lying.
Text in the game. There's no shit Dark Souls levels of hidden text in the game. You go back to chapter select and you look at that final thing where you're talking to Sephiroth on like the edge of creation. The game tells you Sephiroth gives Cloud a cryptic message about 7 seconds before the end of the world.
Mm-hmm. And I think he says end of the world even in the conversation.
He says something that like is kind of ambiguous in the conversation. You feel like you know what he's talking about because it's on the edge of creation. You're looking at space. You're like, what is this big space thing I'm looking at? Like, what is going on here? The game tells you if you go back to chapter select and you read it that they're specifically talking about that moment is the end of everything.
I mean, you could take it literally, but you could also take it as a metaphor, as like the death of Aerith is the end of Cloud's world to him. Because
not taking it metaphorically.
In Advent Children, the whole thing is about like he can't get over the death and he feels like he let her die and stuff. So like if Advent Children is this game's future and that Sephiroth is from this future, then like those like you have to believe that like Cloud might end up in that state where like he carries this weight that he just cannot shed.
To me, I'm like positive this is some Harry Potter stuff where it's going to pay off many games from now. We won't even talk about the 7 seconds in the next game.
Oh, I don't.
Unfortunately, he was incorrect.
You guys are talking about level 3 and 4 shit, and I was like, oh, great, this is going to clear it up for me. I'm more confused now than I was before I started this fucking conversation.
Ben, are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. I've been ready. I'm just waiting.
Let's go deeper.
So this level 3 to 4 essentially starts going into how the next games are going to be. Why is there an alternate timeline? What the fuck is Biggs doing alive? Is Jesse alive? Like, are they in the same world together? Like, why is this shit happening? And I will guarantee you, there are clear things that are not explained. Like Zack being alive, the only thing that we have definitive evidence that Zack's existence is not in the same world as Cloud is the very obvious bag.
Stamp.
Right? Like the stamp bag that flies by is and I went back to the game, it's a different bag, it's a different character. It's not another brand of bag. Like it says original on the top left. I'm like, well, maybe this one's like spicy stamp chips and the other one's original stamp chips and it's just a red herring. No, it's like very obviously showing that this world is different. Something this singularity event that was seen throughout all timelines changed everything for what's going on to our character.
And that's the big yellow globe with the sparkles. Okay.
So yeah, and I was confused by this for a while too. Like when all the wisps are essentially focused on Midgar because everything bad is happening at Midgar, right? Midgar is where our characters are supposed to go, but Sephiroth is there and he's messing with shit. All the wisps are covering Midgar like a dome. The cutscene they show immediately after is Zack walking around in the past, and he doesn't see it, but we see the same dome. It's not that the dome is happening in the past, is that it's happening, period. It's transcending time. So no matter where our characters are at any time,
Yeah, what he's saying is correct.
singularity that happens throughout the past, the future, the present is going to affect everything. Butterfly effect, the same way Sephiroth did. So now when you get Zack and he fights all the dudes, the singularity blows up because the Wisps are obviously occupied fighting our main party, and it ends up that Zack lives. But that's still a different Zack, right? It's still fundamentally not the same Cloud, not the same Zack. In some place in a
obviously, because Zack's dead, so it can't be the same Zack, right?
And made it to Midgar with Cloud, and Cloud becomes, I don't know, a barista or some shit. Like they're gonna be different fundamental people.
Wait, so
not Courier, yeah,
assuming that,
Advent
right,
Children.
I think it being a different timeline is pretty obvious, but who's to say how many permutations there are and the effect that they have on each other? Like, and
that's where I don't have an answer for you. The handling of this timeline stuff is a very sketchy thing, right? We've seen some fiction that obviously do this Back to the Future stuff, because this game is very much Back to the Future too, right? We're going back, and there's an alternating timelining now. There's the original events that we're trying to follow, but now our characters are in this weird middle path that they're trying to eventually fix, and then suddenly in the end you realize there's another path that's being taken. And I don't think there's direct any evidence in the game to.
I like when he actually admits that he doesn't know something. It's kind of
I think that
refreshing.
Is super ambiguous.
Yeah, but he shouldn't act like he has any answers to anything.
Because
a lot of things he doesn't know, he never admits to.
The final area is called the singularity. Like, that's totally fair, right? That absolutely makes sense.
And the final chapter is the crossroads of destiny. It's talking the fact that Aerith and Zack are at a crossroad. They're not going to meet each other. It's like they're destined to meet each other. No,
it's the crossroads of destiny because you're changing destiny.
I bet there's a third point we have not seen yet.
A third timeline?
Oh, we've seen Zack in one spot. We've seen Cloud, Aerith in the present with like future Sephiroth, if it's future. Mm-hmm. I think there's one more point, because these things usually come in threes with like the time loop stuff. Like, like if they're gonna, like, if it's like closed or whatever loop, something like that. I bet at some point we see a third spot where like the whispers are all like gathered together and like got obliterated and something else was changed. Because I think this. I
think Biggs is the other thing they show that with, like,
well,
right?
The Biggs thing is still, we're not sure whether or not that's in future of Zack's timeline.
No, we're not. We're not.
We don't know, because we don't see anything that clearly indicates that. I think what this really
and this is the part where again, Max is wrong. He's just saying no, we're not. No, we're not. Nope, he's wrong, because we know later on now in Rebirth that what's his name? Fuck, forgot his name. Avalanche guy. Got taken to Zack's universe, so he got swept away.
Played into potentially in the next part or parts is that I wouldn't be surprised if we jump around and play like a Zack. Like, we might. I fully expect to play as Zack in some part of the game now.
Are we going to be Zack Laguna style, where it's like suddenly Cloud falls asleep and then you wake up and you're Zack doing something completely different, and then you're talking to Aerith, or what's going on? Like, how they handle that, I have no idea.
Yeah, but I expect something like that at this point. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that.
Exactly. Damiani is correct.
With Brad, really quick. Brad, is this kind of like the same conclusions that you were coming to based on all this stuff? Or is this deviating a lot?
No, this is kind of, I've had a long time to think about all this. I did the review, so I had like a long time to think about this, and I've kind of been here. I've been watching your streams every now and then. Like, I'm getting, like, the brain has been growing the levels on some of those.
It's like Bloodborne. It's like
exactly. It's like I'm taking insight right now.
Time. Yeah. So go ahead, Ben.
I had a theory that I was talking to people about. That I actually think there are other characters.
There's a smug asshole, dude. He's like, oh, I'm watching your streams. Like, oh, like he has all the knowledge. No, you don't have all the knowledge, dude. Why would you think you do?
Ben gets it.
Interact with the timeline, and I think Jesse is one of those characters.
Oh, Ben gets it.
I think Leslie is one of those characters where you're like, because like I had a criticism, and I've had this criticism for days, where I'm like, okay, this Leslie storyline is interesting. But it feels completely
sucks.
Pointless. Like, I can't even. I don't know why they're doing this, but if you go and you do
doesn't
this
suck.
Laguna
It's
style
just from the
storytelling that
book.
you're talking about,
history.
it is a way to illustrate the
yeah.
changes in what is happening with these characters.
Are you guys ready for more level 3?
Yeah,
Are you guys ready?
All
right. Here's
Oh my
here's
god.
how, and this
Start with
is
the
more
levels,
like
dude.
predictions of why they did it and where it's going.
Jesse Gold Saucer.
Yeah, that's
Jesse,
right. I think she'll be the play there.
Jesse
Correct.
tells you constantly throughout the game that she wanted to be the leading lady of the Golden Saucer. The game gives you all these moments and side story things that she just never got to have her dream, and that she essentially dies in this plight to save the world, but she never got to be the leading lady, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You and Cloud and everyone else are trying to get to Golden Saucer. You're repeating the events of Final Fantasy VII. You have more knowledge of what's going on. You get to the Golden Saucer, you go to the play, and Jessie is the leading lady in the play.
And her dad is in the audience.
And they have no
no.
idea who you are.
Yeah. The idea about who you are is interesting.
No memory of what happened. No knowledge of like Avalanche. The time thing has modified so much weird stuff throughout the world that like some things that should have transpired with certain characters that were being manipulated by the ghost just never happens. So now Jesse has no clue who Cloud.
What are you talking about?
And they just like, what's going on? But guess what comes soon after Golden Saucer to ask these really important questions? Bugenhagen at Cosmo Canyon.
Yeah.
And Bugenhagen's going to know exactly what the hell's going on.
Bugenhagen doesn't know shit. Bugenhagen didn't do shit.
The time and the planet are one and the same. Like the future, past, and present don't mean nothing to the planet. Type of stuff.
He's gonna show you like the graph and shit, and it's like
he's gonna have his Doc Brown Back to the Future 2 sort of thing, where he goes through all the same stuff of the original game, describing life and everything like that. But Cloud's gonna be like, I'm having visions, like I'm seeing stuff that's not happening. I'm visioning myself killing Aerith. Right, like because in the original game,
and how wrong can you be?
These extreme moments where he almost kills Aerith in Temple of the Ancients. It's not handled well because it's like bonk, like he slaps her with a sword or something like that. But it's implied that like Cloud injures Aerith at Temple of the Ancients when the Black Materia shows up, that he just loses himself. And then obviously before Aerith dies in the original, he almost kills her. Mm-hmm. He almost goes through the whole process. What they're setting up is that Cloud is going to still have visions of the future, but now he's going to have visions of this situation that is extremely emotional, where he's the one that kills Aerith. He's the one that delivers the final blow. And they're going to sprinkle that throughout the whole game. And Cloud doesn't know what it means.
Oh my god, that's wrong, dude. What the
he doesn't
fuck?
Know who is it going to be? But the closer it gets,
stop acting like you know everything. You're so wrong.
It's gonna happen, and the more he's going to realize.
Why does everyone think this guy knows he's talking about?
I'm not going to be the one to do it. We are going to save her. He's going to have conversations with her, even, right? There's going to be like moments where he is completely like aware of the original FF7. This is level 3 interpretation. But considering what they've set up, I truly feel like that's what they're setting up for.
Cloud doesn't remember anything from the original. Anything.
Like the whole point of Sephiroth.
It's just Aerith and Sephiroth.
Is giving the player the idea that you're in control.
Gives you hope.
Yeah.
Sephiroth
is giving you hope.
Yes.
What does Sephiroth give you?
Give you despair.
Yeah. It gives you despair.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Advent Children is kicking in.
Yeah, he like says that in Advent Children, something about that.
He literally does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
That's amazing.
So fun.
Yeah, that's a good story. Too bad it's wrong.
That makes me think once okay, so let's say everything happens as you're describing and you go and you have the conversation with Bugenhagen and all this is revealed. Does that mean the remake will still care about the Black Materia? Or will that storyline
mm-hmm. Like has anything changed at this point that Sephiroth's body still needs to get the Black Materia to summon Meteor? That Sephiroth still needs to become like one with the live stream and stuff. It doesn't change anything.
Will they have to fight 2 Sephiroths?
Well, think of it like this. Like I was saying earlier, this Sephiroth that's still showing up and going to be manipulating Cloud and in his head, is that much different than the original FF7?
No.
It's not. Like, yeah, it's just that Sephiroth knows more on a cellular level, which is Sephiroth now, and now on a level that controls time. Sephiroth understands what's going to happen to him. It's not like a literal Thanos situation where he time stone type stuff. And I went there and I came back and I'm a different version. You can think of Sephiroth as being like a constant. Like he is now a constant permutation.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yay!
Oh God.
Oh, who's
Sephiroth
back?
Sephiroth
Who's back?
didn't like
Yeah,
you.
Sephiroth
Tom.
took
Oh.
over.
Sephiroth didn't like that.
Sephiroth didn't
He
like
didn't
that.
like that. He was silencing you.
Square's
Yeah,
sending
Square's
me.
coming in.
Square's
A whisper
via,
disappeared and over your
cease
camera.
and
they're
desist.
DDoSing me. So right, like he's a constant. So it's not like you're fighting. Oh, I'm specifically fighting Advent Children Sephiroth. You're just fighting a Sephiroth that knows way more. That is like capable of more because since Sephiroth is just a manifestation.
Oh,
until
so
he gets
wrong
to the
about
top of the
anything
planet,
Advent
he doesn't
Children
have
wise.
the power to drop meteor and just start shit immediately. He still needs Cloud for something. We don't know what, but he needs. And it could be obvious, like he just needs Cloud to
bring
be
him the
puppeted,
materia.
to bring in the materia. Maybe it's as obvious as the original game, but it seems pretty clear that if Sephiroth's aware of the events of the original game, his scope is going to be way different. Like he's going to want to do things that are way different. Is this making any sense, Ben?
Yes, it's making complete sense.
And he wanted
Okay.
the squad to kill the Whispers too, right?
Yeah, dude. You guys ready? You guys ready for some more level 3 shit on the Whispers?
Yeah.
Dude, I had to be sent this from a friend, some top men, because no one was making this observation. Everyone thought, because the IGN video was saying how you fight these 3 Whispers that are future manifestations, as the game says, and they have a gun, they have a sword,
Wrong.
and they have
I
gloves.
knew he was going to talk about
And
Advent
everyone
Children.
interprets it as you're fighting Tifa, Cloud, and Barrett. It's like, wow, it's their future selves. Interesting.
No, it's
Wonder
not.
what that means, because you're like, confronting yourself, sort of thing. However, you
Because
start
Advent
paying attention
Children.
to what they do and what they look like. One doesn't have an arm gun; it's got 2 guns.
Yeah.
One doesn't have a giant Buster Sword; it's got just a sword in one hand. Another has a glove, so it's like, oh, it's Tifa, but it only has one glove, a giant one. They're Laz, Yazoo, and Kadash.
No, it's
Yeah, from the
not.
Like in an existence where time doesn't make any sense, where they can just do
Oh,
whatever
it
they
hurts
want
me so
powerfully.
bad to
They are
hear
the Advent Children.
just
And if
even
you go
hear
back and you
these
actually look at their
words,
moves,
dude.
their attack moves are the same as the movie.
No,
do
they're
the same
not.
attacks as
They're
the
just
movie
freaking
does. Someone also looked it up, that
stereotypical
their elements,
moves,
the
dude.
lightning, the wind, and the fire are actually the same elements that they are in some Ultimacia book or some fiction that I didn't even know existed, because these characters suck in Advent Children. And I agree. I don't want those characters to come back, but the idea
There's no
that by
element
the time you
aspect
enter
to
that
those
portal,
characters.
Sephiroth is already in
Fucking
control
retarded.
of the Wisps and in control of time. He's already manipulating his remnants to do his bidding for him. And that he's commanding Cloud to kill them. He's commanding him, take them out, because I want you to feel like you have control of fate now. Like, why? If it was Cloud beat Tifa and Barrett, that would make a lot more sense. But what did they do right after you fight them all individually? Do you remember, Ben?
Yeah, they fuse.
They
Well,
fuse. They fuse into what?
Oh, Bahamut.
They fuse into Bahamut.
Who they
yes.
summon
Just
in Advent
Who they
Children.
summon in
Children.
Advent Children. Yes.
So at that point, you have to come to the conclusion that, oh, Sephiroth's already in control of Whisper Ghosts and Destiny and shit. And what is the big ghost called? What's the big thing? Like when you kill all the tiny ones and you have to fight like the big goofy Kingdom Hearts guy?
Is it Arbiter of Fate? What?
It's like, I think it's something Harbinger of Fate.
Harbinger. Okay.
Do you remember what Vincent calls Sephiroth and Advent Children?
No, I was telling these guys.
Calamity's Dark Harbinger. It's Sephiroth from way in the future.
No, it's
Controlling
not.
You know, Max, I understand what you mean.
You know what,
about the
Max?
levels now.
You're
The
retarded.
levels
Yeah.
get fucking crazy.
You're retarded.
Dude. Like, and once you start putting this stuff together, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is like Bloodborne levels of shit. Did they actually think this through? Because it feels like they have no fucking idea what's going on with the story of these characters by the end. And now I'm like, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Back to the Future. Holy shit, man. Like, I don't know where things are going to go, but I'm actually personally confident that our characters are going to go on the same path. They're going to we're still going to go to comm. We're going to get Cloud still going to be like the unreliable narrator. Like that still has to happen. Hojo didn't ruin that by saying, you were in Soldier? No, you weren't. And then he gets whisked away. With perspective, we're like, oh my God, that's such a spoiler. What the fuck is going on with the story? What are they doing? And I felt the same way. But without context, to someone that has no idea, Cloud still gets to be the unreliable narrator. He gets to describe what happened in Soldier and what happened to Nibelheim. Like all the same events still get to transpire. It's just that the stakes potentially are higher now because Sephiroth's intentions are now different. He needs to do the events original FF7, but he needs to do something else with Cloud.
Okay, wait. So we were talking about Sephiroth emotionally manipulating Cloud when we brought up like Jessie as an example. Do you think with the way that they introduced Tifa and her father dying, that is also a point that they would use, that Sephiroth would use against Cloud to further, like, would that also be a point that would change and you would get to see that change?
So you mean the flashback, essentially?
The flashback, Tifa's in the cowboy hat. She's over her dead father. She
I
goes after
hate
Sephiroth.
this scene. Yeah.
Yes, but they make it very prominent multiple times in part 1 of the remake.
Well, that happens in the original.
Yes, true. I'm just saying, like, is that something else that could change? Could more of Nibelheim change as part of this grand manipulation?
You think like Genesis is going to be floating around in the background?
I'm just asking questions.
I don't know if we'll see Genesis.
So like, and yeah, and I think that's where
I wish he was, but
you're like, is all the goofy shit from the previous games going to make its way into Nibelheim?
No, you've really got me on the hook, and I love everything that you're talking about with
because he's just doing lip service and doing things that sound funny and interesting
in a way that is logical if you actually manage to connect all the points.
Yeah,
but
it's convoluted as shit just as much as the original story.
Right. I'm not even complaining about the convolutedness. I'm just wondering, like, everything that you're saying with the idea of Sephiroth changing things to hurt Cloud, I think is really interesting as a character and as a villain. And so my question is, I wonder what the extent is, what the scope is of that manipulation, and how we're going to see that manifest with events from the original game.
Here's my, once again, like this is around level 3 theory. That pulls into the timeline stuff, right? We're seemingly going to
level
have Zack
-3 because
in
it's not
an
going to be
alternate
true.
timeline that is replacing Cloud. That potentially, and I've thought how crazy would this be if 4 months later into this game, they release Final Fantasy VII Remake another time, and it's a bombing mission, and you start the bombing mission, and Zack jumps off the train. And you're like, what the hell? And you get to experience the
so this is
characters
level
and Zack
-3.
doing slightly different but similar things in battle as Cloud does.
I'd play it.
And I mean, that sounds awesome, right? That sounds like really cool. But I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's essentially what they're sort of setting up, that in an alternate reality, Zack is taking the place of Cloud. Why would they be setting up an alternate reality where Zack is alive? And I genuinely hope it's not so that Zack and Cloud can like talk to each other and the timelines can merge, and they get whispers of them in their journey with Cloud and his journey, and they're like aware of it. I think that would genuinely suck if they did that.
It wouldn't have to be that though, because what you're saying, if they do make that game, it would just be it would be a vehicle for explaining with what they're trying to do with the story.
Exactly. And there could be moments, throughout the story of the original game where you get an idea of what's going on, that Zack is alive somewhere, that are sort of sprinkled throughout. But theoretically, why would they do that? Where is this all going? Like, where eventually these timelines?
No, why would they do that? Why would you even say that? Why would you even suggest that?
And the more I started thinking about it, the more I started talking about it, that point is Aerith's death. The setup why Zack is alive is that you can twist the knife even further on Aerith's death, where it's not just Cloud that's losing her, it's also Zack. Where they both are going to lose her. If there's one thing that our characters are going to try to believe, that Sephiroth wants our characters to believe, since he's in so much control now, he wants our characters to think that you can save her, right? They want to be aware that she is like savable in some way or something like that. And the best, to me, like without removing the heart of Final Fantasy VII, which is Aerith dying and dealing with loss, because the theme of the game is life and by accompaniment death, you make it way worse, right? You make it so much worse because you've instilled hope in the player and you've given Zack something to live for along with Cloud, and then you take it away.
But how cool would that be if you not only get to experience that moment in another part of the remake as Cloud, but if you also get to experience that in a completely playable segment as Zack, like that,
and that's how I don't
emphasizes that point,
right? And it emphasizes that point. That's where I don't know how they're going to handle that, right? I don't want to see like a split screen of Cloud and Zack going, you know,
Kill yourself
like,
4 style.
Right? I don't want that. Like, and the reason I'm confident that it'll be okay is because the story elements of remake and the way they're handled and the character dialogue is so good. I can only imagine how fucking heart-wrenching that is going to be once, if they're able to pull it off on the same level the story beats of this game are. Because the story beats of this game that actually are like emotionally resonant are super emotionally resonant. Like they do a very good job of making you give a shit about our characters so much and figuring out what Cloud is and why is he going through this stuff. And Aerith's this sweet girl, but she seems to be leading on more than she seems. And Tifa just wants to get to know more about Cloud, as an alluding to the fact that even Cloud's kind of, they're doing a very good job at preserving original FF7. So in my opinion, I can only see them preserving the original and amplifying it just as much as they did for part 1. And I think that's the whole reason why this timeline stuff is happening. They just want to amplify her death to the point of which you as the player, you're given a little bit of hope, right? You're thinking that maybe
you think that's the only reason they're doing
so eventually the crossroad
timeline stuff
and
is because
no matter what. It's a constant. There are things that happen. There's singularities that happen.
I think the only reason that they want to do the timeline stuff is just to make Aerith's death like more strong. No, that's ridiculous. I can't believe you would even think that for even a second.
You want to know? I also started thinking about the timeline stuff. This is almost like level 4. Cloud and
level
Sephiroth team
-4
up for the final battle. I'm sorry, Cloud and Zack team up for the very final battle and meet, and they're finally together again. Like what both of them always wanted, to like be together and be friends, and they are, to finally kill Sephiroth in the end game, like the super end game. And that's how you amplify the end with Sephiroth. That's how you amplify the end of Final Fantasy VII. Cloud and Zack finally meet up. And then once Sephiroth is gone,
part of that's true for Rebirth. Happened at the end of Rebirth.
Yeah, it's just Cloud.
But
and then you're just left with the original FF7. So this is like huge brain after thinking about all this
that's
stuff.
Not
for
huge
so long,
brain, that's just an idea.
That's like the huge brain shit that's kicking in. And I'm gonna give you the last piece.
That's
of level
not
4.
huge brain.
Are you ready?
No.
It's just another idea you have. Okay.
Had quite a few people tell me this, and I thought it was like, that's no fucking. And then it hit me. The final shot of Final Fantasy VII Original is Aerith as Holy comes in and sweeps across the land, and she uses the life stream to save everyone. And it's that do-do-do, and you see her face. Cloud gets a vision of that literal moment in this game. He hears the do-do-do, and he like feels the emotion at the end of Final Fantasy VII, and he doesn't know what the hell is going on. Level 4 Omega Insight 99 Bloodborne Brain is that
Blood
shot
dick.
of Aerith at the end of Final Fantasy VII Original continues directly over to the shot of Aerith in Final Fantasy VII Remake, where she is essentially being, like, through time, delivered from the end of FF7 to the beginning of Remake. And she wakes up and she's aware, and she looks around and she hears Sephiroth. She feels his presence because the planet needs her to go back. The planet needs her to return to the original events and start assisting the party to make sure she's like the Obi-Wan, sort of making sure everyone sort of does what they need to do. And the end of FF7 Original, just that same shot is directly connected to Aerith opening her eyes, and she's like aware, oh, okay, is Sephiroth around? Nope, I feel him. You hear his fucking music at the beginning of the game, signifying that this is different than the original FF7. The feather.
When she's standing in front of the
reactor, Sephiroth is already there. He's already like his.
When you're standing in front of the, she's standing in front of like the pipe and looking at the thing. That's the first thing we see of Aerith, just like in the original game.
The beginning. So
it's not the same. There's no special music playing there that from I can tell. So this is just no.
But the only thing that really supports it is that Sephiroth's theme is at the beginning. Cloud sees Sephiroth's black wing at the beginning, and Sephiroth never gets a black wing feather thing until the end of Advent Children. He doesn't have it in Crisis Core. He doesn't have it at the end of FF7. He has it in like Dissidia and stuff like that because they change his design. But he gets the Black Wing because he's like an upgraded version of Sephiroth, right? He's evolving. But Cloud, the Black Wing of Sephiroth is there throughout all of everything. You remember the key art?
No, the Black Wing's from when they introduced the whole Genesis stuff.
Kitase literally said, we have a special piece of key art and there's a unique design to Sephiroth. I hope everyone will appreciate it. Or like, I hope everyone, you know, is able to pull some information out of this. These guys were setting us up for 3 years.
Those bastards.
It was in front of our noses the whole time that this is Sephiroth from the future, that he's coming back. I'm like, they got us. This was the plan the whole time. So welcome to level 4.
I don't think that's true at all.
I don't know whether to be overjoyed that you're illuminating.
I think that's level -4. It's just fantasy, making up shit, really reaching bullshit. And you're trying to make it sound true.
I'm making a joke and saying that
Welcome to level -10.
I'm gonna be playing it, and I'm gonna be like, fucking Max, he already told me this. Like, I mean, what's happening?
If I just like the
I'm
way
just kidding.
the way things are going, it just makes sense. Like it feels
does.
like
It
they're
makes
setting us
sense.
up. It feels like almost this timeline stuff is a red herring to make you feel like, oh, maybe we're gonna be able to do something about it. I could be wrong, right? Like Cloud and Zack could walk away at the end of that scene in the rain, and Zack could get shot in the back.
Yeah.
Just like the original game, and then Cloud has memories of it. So I don't.
He didn't get shot in the back.
So much open.
Well, I guess he did get. No, you're right. He did get shot in the back because he was facing towards Midgar.
Game, like the whole game. I noticed just last night, and I put it on Twitter, when Cloud first runs into Sephiroth at the end of the game, and he meets him right outside of like being in his head and shit, and he's like, is it really you? And Sephiroth starts giving him like flashbacks and stuff like that, starts like infecting his mind. Cloud has a moment where he's just like racked with pain, like feeling all this stuff. He has no idea what he's feeling. And then he suddenly grabs his left arm. He starts holding his left arm like it hurts like hell. And and there's a shot of it, like there's a specific shot of his hand just like gripping his arm super hard. The same arm that he had Geostigma in Advent Children.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
They are level 4.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like it's a 50-50 shot which arm it could be, and it was that arm. That's crazy.
Given us stuff to hypothesize about.
Welcome to level -20.
If it was just straight
More
up,
bullshit
like,
that you don't know.
What kind of weapons are left? You know,
again, we're gonna get up there and we're gonna kill. They're gonna kill her, and we're gonna go take it. So snowboarding.
Yeah. And so I love that it's given us this again. Basically, it's almost a truer remake in that it gives you more surprise and more wonder than a straight up 1-to-1 remake would have.
And I think all of us can agree that like the way they sort of deliver this information to us is super not obvious. It's like Dark Souls Bloodborne levels of sort of subtext, and the dump truck of all of it just falling and crashing on you suddenly, I don't think is handled very well. And it's I wish more people could like come to some of these realizations and figure it out instead of having to watch like a YouTube video on it. But at the same time, it's like Bloodborne's my second favorite game of all time next to FF7. And it wasn't on my first playthrough. I'm like, oh, that was cool.
No wonder he keeps saying Bloodborne like it like matters.
Space aliens, it was fun.
Oh, it probably came out recently, didn't it?
Body video. And I was like, holy shit. And then I played Bloodborne a second time. It is now one of my favorite games of all time. And that realization, it made me love it so much.
I still haven't played it yet, and I don't know if I ever will, but yeah.
Ask you, Max, because everything that you're saying, coming to that realization, I think in any story, coming to those realizations is very enjoyable and fun. What I would argue about Bloodborne is you don't need to come to that realization to have a very fulfilling experience. You don't finish Bloodborne and you're like, oh, I didn't enjoy that journey. I feel like it is dense enough that whether you're at level 1 or level 4, you're getting something out of it. It comes through the execution and the presentation.
Sure.
I haven't seen Advent Children in a long time, but I've seen Advent Children multiple times, and I feel like I usually walk away from Advent Children
it's not great,
feeling very unfulfilled.
Not
and it's
great.
like, yeah, you can go down the rabbit hole and you can come to the fulfillment of those revelations, but actually sitting there and watching the movie, it doesn't come across very well.
Like the same thing as Crisis Core to an extent, the same thing as Dirge of Cerberus, the same thing as all this other FF7 stuff that they've been doing for the past many years that isn't FF7. I completely agree with you, dude. Like they are disappointing. I love
what it was Ben saying.
Something out of it. Oh, I didn't enjoy that. This is what I want.
Shit. And then I played Bloodborne a second time. It is now one of my favorite
Every
games
time
of all
Max
time.
talks, I just
And
start zoning
that
out.
Realization, it made me love it so much.
This is what I want to ask you, Max, because everything that you're saying, coming to that realization, I think in any story, coming to those realizations is very enjoyable and fun. What I would argue about Bloodborne is you don't need to come to that realization to have a very fulfilling experience. You don't finish Bloodborne and you're like, oh, I didn't enjoy that journey. I feel like it is dense enough that whether you're at level 1 or level 4, you're getting something out of it. It comes through the execution and the presentation.
Sure.
I haven't seen Advent Children in a long time, but I've seen Advent Children multiple times, and I feel like I usually walk away from Advent Children
It's not great.
feeling very unfulfilled.
Not
and it's
great.
like, yeah, you can go down the rabbit hole and you can come to the fulfillment of those revelations, but actually sitting there and watching the movie, it doesn't come across very well.
Like the same thing as Crisis Core to an extent, the same thing as Dirge of Cerberus, the same thing as all this other FF7 stuff that they've been doing for the past many years that isn't FF7. I completely agree with you, dude. Like they are disappointing. I love Advent Children, but that movie is dumb as shit. Like you have to watch like the complete edition. It's like over 2 hours long to make it.
What are you talking about? There's nothing wrong with Advent Children. There's nothing wrong with Dirge of Cerberus. I'm not saying that it's a perfect game, not saying it's a perfect movie. But there's nothing fundamentally wrong about it where it's like you wish you didn't watch it or wish you didn't play it.
A comparable movie, and it still has huge storytelling issues. The characters are terrible. I have no idea what's going on. Like, unless you have.
There's at no point where I felt like I didn't know what was going on, really. I could think of. They kind of, well, okay. They don't explain why Sephiroth is like in the clones, I guess. They don't explain that part. Do they? Maybe they don't. Because I'm thinking that I think the books actually kind of light up things better. So there are a little bit of problems there. Because the books kind of explain the whole, like, how Sephiroth can't be absorbed into the life stream. Because Jenova can't be absorbed into the life stream, and so that there's like separate, and so that he's causing the geostigma with the Jenova remnants. And I feel like, yeah, I don't think that was really explained.
Deep understanding of like FF7. The concepts they set up are kind of interesting, that Sephiroth lives on like through his mimetic legacy. He lives on genetically. I'm like, okay, that's the stuff they're using in this game. They're not like, Kadaj doesn't go up and he's not like crying, don't cry, Laz, like all this dumb shit. like I just like, please, like, kill me now. Like, can we just get to the final fight scene? And that's all I want out of Advent Children, right? But, and here's the part where I'm like, I don't
agree there at all. I thought that it's a decent movie.
The things that are missing from Dirge of Cerberus, Crisis Core, and Advent Children are present in this game. The characters, your adoration for the characters. Like, I have never felt a crew of characters feel more original Star Wars than the original Star Wars. Like, it feels like these characters are like destined for greater things, and they're gonna go places. And there's obviously like stories to be told about them all, because we know there is. But man, like the relationships in this game that they establish are so fucking good, and it's like some of the best that's out there. And
there's lots of things I'm thinking about saying, because you're trying to, it's just an oversimplification like people on YouTube love to do. So it makes sense that Max just immediately does it to make things like more digestible to people. It's just oversimplify things, makes things easier to understand for people, but also like completely wrong. So Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, it's like, yes, these are different games. So they're not going to have all the exact same characters, yes. And technically, everyone is in Dirge of Cerberus, you just don't play as them. But also, they aren't as much part of the story. It is kind of weird that, like, Yuffie doesn't want to interact more and get more dirty into it, like fighting the final bosses and stuff like that with Deep Ground. As Vincent is just like the de facto guy in Dirge of Cerberus to do all the going into the, you know, fighting Vice and shit. But yeah, it's just an oversimplification once again. It's just, I don't know how you can say stuff like this and just keep a straight face and like believe it.
This could be an FF7 fan talking, but I've seen people that have no idea what Final Fantasy is that are like, oh, that's that sort of weeby Final Fantasy thing. Like they describe it as that, and then they play FF7 and like, well, this is cool. Why is this cool? Do I like Final Fantasy? Like people will start saying that after they start playing FF7 now. So I think they're trying to do what the original FF7 did.
Yeah.
They're trying to get people to like Final Fantasy because Final Fantasy has been a very specific thing for the past 15 years-ish. It could be sort of...
I don't know what, he's just, again, making up stuff that I don't think is true. Final Fantasy 7 Remake people are definitely the older gamers, not newer people, for sure.
Of hard to jump into. The last time Final Fantasy was genuinely different, like there was a big jumping point, was, in my opinion, FF7. Like it was most RPGs before that were what? Sort of romps through classic medieval Dungeons and Dragons.
Final Fantasy 16, which wasn't out when this video came out,
I think 6
was way more bigger entry point, I would say, for more recent audience.
The original FF7, that's the thing that got me to play it. Dude, I played the original FF7 when I was like 14 years old. And I thought RPGs were for nerds. Like, oh God, these nerdy kids playing all these like Dungeons and Dragons games. Oh God, I'm gonna play Killer Instinct and Street Fighter. This is stupid. And then I just sat next to a friend one day that was like, dude, I'm playing this Final Fantasy 7 game. It's sick. Like a really good friend. I'm like, dude, that's that stupid Final Fantasy stuff. We're like, right, what are you doing? Like RPGs, what's wrong with you? And it's my favorite game of all time. Like that game changed me. I feel like they're trying to do the same thing. Like that's the gimmick behind like this entire.
That explains a lot. So that was his first RPG.
Beloved.
He didn't grow up with
why they're
Final Fantasy 2, AK4, or Chrono Trigger. That's
hope that
very disappointed.
Because they
very
want the
explains a lot
resonating
in his
feelings
general nature.
of old FF7 to happen to new people and potentially the same people that played the old game.
Right. But with what you're talking about, I feel like to really get the subversion that you are hoping for, you do kind of need to go through these levels, and you do need to have an appreciation for the compilation and all of this stuff.
Yeah, like, dude, it feels like this game is a sequel, right? It's not. Right.
It does feel like a sequel.
It is, and it is.
It is.
It is a sequel.
So
I have a question.
Mean, I agree with you. I think like the super open-endedness of it leaves people sort of confused. Mm-hmm. It emulates the feelings that we kind of had with the original, with not knowing who Zack is, with, you know, we're going to venture out into the open world and we're going to be blown away potentially by, wow, the world is so much bigger and expansive than the original FF7. It feels like they want to capture these emotions. And the only reason I think that is that my 40 to 50 hour experience with this game was nothing but that. It was nothing but just like, wow, they made me feel like I lived in Midgar. They made me feel like Midgar was a real fucking place with real characters. And that was like, I had to like take myself away from the weird ass ending and reflect on the 95% of the game where everything was the most beautiful remake I could have possibly have imagined. And then the dump truck rolls in and it's like, drop all this shit on you. So I think it could have been done better. I appreciate that it has subtext and replayability for story, but it's so unique and bold and like weird. And my fears are quelled with the fact that 95% of this game was incredible.
Yeah.
Like 95% is exactly what I wanted.
And the way I rate it is like, was it fair? Right? because I don't really see it as a dump truck. I feel like, hey, at least if they planted the seeds, I'm cool with it. Like, there's moments where they say, like, what are those ghost things? They seem to attack Jesse for some reason. Like, they said that out loud, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like if you give enough of those hints, it's on the table. It's fair enough for.
And there is hints, like we just talked about, like every single time the ghosts do something, it is not just some random, the fans getting in the way and preserving the original timeline. I think that meta is super true, right? I think it's definitely a metaphor for the developers to surprise you in different ways than the original. But they already did that with this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
They made Hell House a giant, incredible boss fight. Why
did we not spend a half hour on Hell House?
Yeah, like right. They were.
If you didn't bring any magic materia, then yeah.
Hell House is a meme.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, how do you have Hell House? How do you have Hell House in a world of Final Fantasy VII that looks like this? It's impossible. How do you have cross-dressing in 2020 in a world like this? It's impossible. And they just. Boom, they just like nail it out of the park. Yeah. I don't even think they did it. They just destroyed it. Like they did it so well that, okay, they get it. I have complete faith. Like the things that were super weird in the end don't change the fact that the elements that I think were handled so exemplary of honoring FF7 and its fans and potentially new fans. I could just see that that's where they're going. They just want to amplify everything to make it hit and hurt even more when it eventually does happen.
It's funny that we started this conversation talking about how this feels like Squaresoft. And like the reason why Squaresoft had the impeccable reputation that they did is, again, I'm generalizing here, but for the most part, when Squaresoft made something, it was so purposeful. They had something to say. They had a way in which they wanted you to experience a story that no one else was doing, right? You talked about the subversion with Final Fantasy VII and going against what other RPGs were doing at the time.
Yeah.
That is what this feels like. And I think that's why it's so exciting. Like I feel like there are so many things that are good now with games, but they're not exciting. And I think because this feels purposeful.
Yeah, and I had somebody, and I was watching some other streamers that I love, and they're just like, this just feels like garbage, right? Their impression is like this is high quality garbage is what it is. And then brutal. I essentially,
brutal.
I realized their perspective is that they played the original FF7 with the perspective of the 90s. The perspective that we were in a medium where every year there were monumental leaps in this industry, that if you looked at a game at the beginning of a console, it looked like it could be 2 console generations ahead of it by the end. Like Final Fantasy IX in comparison to Final Fantasy VII, like it's the technology was so rapidly growing. And to be completely frank, since the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation, we've essentially just been upgrading loading times, resolution, textures, things like that. There hasn't been like giant monumental strides. The only one I would argue is VR.
Yes.
Like VR, Resident Evil 7 VR was like an experience that I cannot, like that shit changed like my perspective on games, and I love it. But in terms of like the big, how has video games just monumental, this game was like Resident Evil 4, right? The God of War, the Final Fantasy 7s, the Half-Lifes, like, right? All that kind of stuff, the Dooms. And some people would argue like Last of Us is definitely one, but Last of Us like is what it is because of such incredible storytelling. I think it was monumental like storytelling in a game. Like, the quality of that was so high. But in terms of like gameplay, it's like a boiled down Uncharted in many ways, but just done with the most incredible characters and story. As this is talking as somebody that arguably, and I'm not arguably, but admittedly, I haven't played all of Last of Us just because the gameplay didn't grab me. I know the story and I watched like people play it, but I just couldn't, like what we were doing as characters just never grabbed me. But I will say that game deserves all the merit in the world because it was monumental to the industry as it grabbed people, right? It made people truly give a shit about its characters. And that's tremendous. So much to the point where it's the medium of storytelling, right? We're evolving as video games. So to expect that like Final Fantasy VII Remake, like this thing that practically evolved the industry is going to do the same thing again. That's like the expectations thing where
I think that's a little too high of an expectation,
right? Like you're not going to feel the same way.
Yeah, the original game was like insane when it came out,
Yeah.
Like not even just like even on a marketing budget, that game, like how it was treated and looked at, it was like nothing like that at the time.
Yeah, you saw video game stuff on Pepsi cans and
Yeah.
shit. It was like, this is crazy.
You
Like,
still
how is
do.
video
What do
games
you
affected
mean?
real life now? Like that never really had happened before that outside of like Mario
yeah,
a
maybe
movie.
some Nintendo stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that is an impossible goal, right?
Yeah,
like you can't be a studio and be like, okay, we're going to do that, because it's not like a tangible thing.
Yeah.
But I think you can say, we have something that we want to say about this story. We have a way that we want to make you feel.
Yeah.
I think those are a lot more achievable, and based on this conversation, if that is what they're going for, even if it doesn't work out exactly as we all individually hope, I think that ambition is commendable.
And you could feel that ambition in part 1. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like what the number one thing I was like, man, how bad are you going to feel when the plate falls? How tremendously dreary is that going to be? And the music, the way all the dialogue is with the characters around you, the way you feel as a player is just, it's soul crushing. After the plate falls, it's like, my God, man, what are they going to do when she dies? Like, holy shit. Like,
it's so
what are they going for?
When I think about things that are, unique to video games as a medium, what I really like about that is there was such a long time where
this is just like
I play very
stuff
late
I don't
at night,
really
right?
need to
And I'm
comment
okay,
on here.
I'll
It's like, come
I'll
on.
stop playing when I get back to Sector 7 and, get back to my hotel room. And that realization took so long where it's like, I'm never getting back to that hotel room, And just from a video game perspective of having this area that you were cool in, you were doing your side quests in, and just having it destroyed actually has, I think, a greater impact in some way. From this comfort that you had already pre-established there.
You that's actually a great point that I didn't even realize. If you didn't do all the side quests in Sector 7, well, screw you.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go back and do that stuff now. You have to play the game again.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually kind of cool.
It's
like,
very
there are
cool,
there are some things that are kind of interesting that sort of happen in some of the side quests at the original, outside of finding cats and things like that. I genuinely feel the side quests in Sector 7 are the weakest of all the side quests, and then they get kind of interesting, and obviously Wall Market, which is like the best chapter in the game.
Yeah,
it's definitely an up and down with the side quests.
It's up and down. Like, there's degrees of quality, so much to the point it feels so much like Yakuza. It's insane. Like, I'm doing stupid mundane shit, and then I'm doing really interesting character growth stuff, and then stupid mundane shit, like, all over again.
Never feels grindy though. At least there's that.
Yeah, I don't think it feels grindy. I feel at least there's they try to have the characters communicate enough and do something at least, right?
Dude, the behemoth fight was sick, man.
Oh God,
love
it. You play the VR one where he's like a mid-fight.
I watched you play the VR.
No,
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, actually.
Is this Hojo's VR set?
Yeah. Hojo's VR at the end of the game has hard mode.
There's some
VR
cool monsters
sequence
in there, dude.
And there's monsters that aren't in the game at all. I'm like, oh, so
I saw some trophies for those. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna use these in part 2. Like, you're gonna run to some of these enemies.
Marlboro, dude, out in the world
Yep.
is gonna be sick.
Well, because
go ahead.
I was actually disappointed.
So annoying. Nope.
Because you fight a
There's no
behemoth in an
pride and
early
joy,
side quest.
unfortunately, in
And the
Rebirth
way
that I've
they
seen
set
yet,
it
at
up
least.
is so sick.
Not
'cause you go
outside of
through that
the
area
VR
and it's like,
missions, at least.
You hear roaring, and I was like, enemies don't get contextualized this well in game, and obviously, like, it's a behemoth, one of the most famous Final Fantasy monsters. This is so fucking sick, and I was jumping up and down with excitement. I was like grabbing my wife and being like, "We're gonna fight a behemoth," and then I go and I fight the behemoth, and I'm like, "This is the easiest shit ever." I'm so disappointed, but it's nice that there is a difficult behemoth that you can access later on. But I was disappointed in the initial battle
In the underground.
Where is there a
lab?
difficult
in
one?
the underground lab.
That was disappointing.
Yeah,
It was disappointing in that I felt, just for me, in my own mental buildup,
Got it.
the difficulty and the mechanics were not.
Oh,
The
you wanted
challenge
like
that I was
some huge, spectacular, difficult challenge boss fight kind of thing from it?
I just felt like with the way that they were building it up, and I may have been off base, but it didn't feel that far removed from a normal fight versus like the buildup.
What's fun?
the behemoth fight.
The initial behemoth fight.
And it's called like a proto behemoth too,
It's
right?
type,
I think
it's like a type 0 behemoth.
Type 0 behemoth.
Yeah,
I think it's meant to be a little weaker than a
The
real.
real behemoth shows up in
That's
in
part
technically
2.
VR later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then have you guys actually tried a little bit of hard mode?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not yet. I'm kind of, the way that I'm like mentally categorizing this game is I'm trying to do everything in normal, and then it's like, okay, once I've checked all that stuff off, then I'll go and do hard mode. That's how
I'm going to sell you on it right now. You go fight the guard scorpion. I'm going to not spoil much because I want you to experience it. You go fight the guard scorpion, and it seems like a relatively normal guard scorpion fight. He's like, oh, he's just doing more damage, and I'm doing less damage. Okay, let's go whoop his ass. I'll just have to be a little cautious. And then Barrett's like, get behind the rubble. Or Barrett Cloud's like, get behind the rubble. So you do it, and then one character's protected, and you start fighting, and he lasers the shit out of the other character. And then he eventually does, like, right as it's done, he lasers the hell out of both of you. So he has completely new moves. They take the things that
Devil
you're
May Cry
ready.
difficulty, which is awesome.
Yeah. They take the things that you're like, oh, I remember your weakness. This is what I do. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like, completely aware now.
And just the whole idea of like, hey, you can't fucking use items, that completely makes you reevaluate materia than you could on an initial playthrough, which is really
get mana back, have benches.
That's why I didn't use any items first playthrough.
Are super.
Lock them in, dude. Keep them in.
Max, you were talking about the manuscripts,
no items,
and I think there's a really awesome synergy between gameplay design and wanting to go back and get more of the story, because you're like, this is better in subsequent playthroughs. It's not just subsequent playthroughs, like chapter selection is enriched, and I actually think it's genius that you get, I think it's like double experience and triple AP or something. Once you finish the game.
Yeah.
I think that is like a practical incentive for you going back and replaying, and it keeps it fun because you're getting more rewards. But you're also getting new story bits.
Yeah, the game wants you to be level 50.
Right.
Like it wants you to be at max level.
But like you're getting satisfied in multiple ways, where you're the progression, like you feel like the shackles of progression are lifted off, your characters are growing, you have to think about combat in different ways, but you're also getting a new perspective on the story. Like these things are lining up and merging.
There's a really reason why there's New Game Plus. Like, right? They like, all right, we showed you a lot of crazy shit. If you go back and you start playing again and start actually paying attention to Sephiroth's motivations, start fighting in different ways that are different. Like you have new perspective on how battles are. So we're going to flip that on its head. It's like the best situation of subverting expectations without going the Star Wars route, you know? I'm not saying anything about Star Wars, but all I'm saying is that this game does a lot to subvert your expectations, but they do it in a way that seems completely smart, like really thought out. Like they genuinely have been thinking about this shit for like 10 years. If we were to eventually do this, how would we do it? What's the best way? Do we make it exactly like the old one? Do we make it a sequel? Do we make it just like Cloud picks up the sword and you essentially do Advent Children and do more stuff after that? Like, do we do that, or do we have our players
No, you just don't do anything after the trilogy is done.
The same experience they had before, but we want you to feel the wonder. We want you to feel the same feelings. Like, we don't want your memories to essentially be the guide. Like your perspective on FF7 has a lot to say in this game. And I personally love that who's the enemy of your perspective as a player in Final Fantasy VII Remake? Who's the one character that's here to not just get into the character's timeline of the original game, to not just mess with our main character? Sephiroth is fucking with the player. Like, and I kind of love that meta. Like, I kind of love that Sephiroth is so deep in this. He's been built up as this bad guy. Like, everyone practically knows who Sephiroth is in many ways. And if you start really looking into it, like, he's messing with you. He's messing with your memories. And I'm like, I'm on board. How is he going to do it more? I don't know. Like, just take me and Sephiroth. Like, let's go. Like, whatever road we're going to go down here, if it's going to be weird and different, if it's handled in the same way as this game, super down.
You talked about feeling that sense of wonder, and I love that it is not just from a like fleshed out characters and kind of sequel storyline that we're talking about.
Gameplay, dude.
Gameplay, right. That's the thing is, I think what is something that is still, even if you've never played it before, remarkable about Final Fantasy VII today is how much there is to do. There are so many optional things. There are crazy mini games that you're doing. I feel like 7 Remake also tries to instill that same sense of wonder with its interactivity, with how the quests play out, with the optional things that you can get involved in. Like, it tries to grab that same feeling
Ben,
purely
even like
from
lifting
a
levers at the same time.
gameplay standpoint.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yes.
So
and,
fun.
and how many
Love that
dialogue
stuff, yeah.
options there are. Oh my god. Yes.
So and to not sound like a complete like FF7 remake fanboy, because I critically gave this game the same score you guys got. I give it a 9.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to tell my audience that I have like my critical review and then I have my personal review.
I was definitely thinking about that when I was doing the review for this game.
Yeah, it's tough if you have to give it one review. And as like someone that doesn't like have to like be in the same situation you guys are, I can just tell people like, you know what, critically, I think you should definitely go get this. It's a 9 out of 10. For me personally, this is one of my favorite fucking games I've ever played. Like I love it so much. But I can absolutely have criticisms. There are very long sequences in this game where you're just walking and looking at things and things aren't interactive. And I'm like, I should be fighting enemies in this really cool area. I'm just not doing anything here except just moving through.
I love just walking through areas and listening to shit.
Normally in any other game, I'm like, oh my God, we're just repeating the events of Final Fantasy 13. Right? We're just going through that again. I honestly feel this is what Final Fantasy 13 should have been. It's Final Fantasy 13 where the sequences that are extremely linear.
I can't believe I haven't played any Final Fantasy 13 yet, but hey, it's on my games to play list, so we'll get there eventually.
Are okay in this game.
True.
Because they're amplified from incredible music.
Metal Gear Solid's next, by the way. After I'm finished Rebirth and all the achievements and stuff, that's what's next.
Right? Characters are just talking to each other and you're learning things about each other during all these sequences.
Yeah, it's like the robot arm part. You're like, okay, I've done this robot arm a lot.
The stupid robot arm part.
Aerith and Cloud talking together is so entertaining.
And then she's like, high five the shit out of me. And you're like, oh, I don't have to deal with that stupid robot arm stuff. And then you get one of the greatest moments in the game, which is I'm like, I love this game. Like those they take something that is like obviously we're in like PlayStation 2 level design here, guys. Like, give me a break. Like, what is going on with some of the level design in this game? And luckily, you're essentially handheld through all of that by incredible music, fantastic characters, and a battle system that gives me like genuine, like, I can't believe I'm playing this, like, type of feels.
The battle system's so good because it incorporates so many elements
level
from the original.
Design. So what do you think has better level design?
Really great in this, but it also leaves so much room for them to do additional stuff.
Like, it doesn't really need to be
excited about.
It doesn't really need to be. What do you want it to be, like Mario or something? What do you mean PlayStation 2 level design? Like, doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, aerial combat's the worst.
They almost like hint at aerial combat in part 1, but they could definitely expand the shit out of it.
It's just one thing in RPGs that, I mean, I love RPGs. One thing I don't like is when you have your party and it feels like the rest of the party is just kind of like fucked off. They're not even around, dude. Like, you're in these conversations, they're not even there. I want the characters somehow to feel more involved in the fight with you. Like, I know it's asking way too much to have like your entire party out in the field, but some way to incorporate them easy. I don't know, maybe from a technical standpoint. If it's as flashy,
not at the same time, but
what if you did like assists?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like something like that, incorporate them in combat. Maybe like
you should be able to switch out between them, like Final Fantasy X style. Honestly,
like, yeah, Damiani, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Like ideally,
the PHS is FF10.
I would want like team up. Like, I love team up attacks and Chrono Trigger. Like, if you could fucking do team up attacks or some shit, like
skill change.
And that's what they did. That's what they did in Rebirth.
This game does give you reasons to like get one ATB after the other. In fact, there is materia in this game that is already hinting at sort of where they're going with the it's some ATB materia that gives you a big ATB boost if you use move after move after move.
Yeah, but it has to be 3 different moves, right? Yeah,
skill master. I think that's what it is.
3 unique moves in a row.
It has to be 3 like moves in
not in a row.
You do them really quickly. So
no, it's not true. That's not how it works. You just have to do the 3 different moves
or skill chains, all the like Final Fantasy 11, where you get like added effect bonuses. Like if you do Star Shower with Tifa, and then you go into Cloud's Blade Beam, it's going to create this giant like fireball effect. But if you do it in a different combination, it's going to create an ice effect or some unique thing. And then if you amplify it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and that increases the stagger gauge, right? Like that's why it feels like there's room to improve, and that could be the direction then I would definitely take it. Just give us more cool stuff to do with the party.
Yeah, there's definitely there's a lot of small quality of life things they could also do as well. Like if they don't do it in the next part, I'm gonna be really upset. They need to have materia loadouts. You need to be able to say,
and they still didn't.
Yeah, I was really annoyed.
It's still they still didn't.
They need to just
I agree though. They really need to.
ATB bar to swap out one materia in mid battle. Like when you're playing in the second playthrough on hard, maybe that's locked out. But there's so many times we go into a battle, do the assess, and like, I don't have this equipped. I get to do this the long way now. I'm going to be here for an hour fighting this thing because I didn't do it right. Just maybe it's limited to like one swap. You can only use it once per battle. There just needs to be some way to change like out like your elemental once or something.
You know how you fix
like when you assess a boss and it's like, hey, Aerith has a weapon that you could steal and you don't have fucking steel equipped.
Yeah, that I think it's the exact same problem that original FF7 has. You have so much materia that is going unused most of the time, and these things that you could do, but you know how you fix it? You have multiple characters that can put materia on. So instead of just being 3 party members, what if all your other characters need materia on them because you can swap out to any of those other characters at any point in the future game?
God, that'd be
maybe
so
Vincent
sick.
can just pop in, and you're always 3 characters on screen. But if there's like a sub tag system in next generation hardware, which is where we're most likely going to be going with this, that would make a lot of sense if you can actually have access to the whole party in some way on the fly, and they just have to rebalance.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think that they should have did something like that, but they didn't.
At the end of the game, where there are 5 characters fighting on your team. So I mean,
yeah, maybe you're right.
That'd be cool. It'd be really cool to be able to swap.
It feels like they're already getting ready for it.
I actually love swapping in this game. Yeah.
Why is his
so much fun?
Yeah,
mouth not matching with this camera? Everyone else's is. It's weird.
They're doing all similar things, and the enemy's
everyone else's camera is matching with their mouth movements, except for Kyle's.
This bitch, like the feeling of like the game is constantly giving you choices to make and things to do is the thing I love about fighting games. Like, it's like it gives me the fighting game feels, because in fighting games you constantly have to manage meter and what do I do with that? And now that they're doing this, I got to do this. This game always has this bar that I have to fill. It's always got these objectives that I have to complete to get to this thing. And now we have to do it, and now we got to hammer it home as soon as it does happen.
I think also,
I liked.
Go ahead.
I liked how the game, like when I saw that, I was like, okay, I could make Barrett a melee fighter if I want to. Why would I ever want to do that? I like it. He has such a specific purpose as a ranged character. But then I had to get the battle intel for getting all the proficiency things. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to equip Barrett with a melee weapon. Finally, oh my god, it's so fucking good. And it's good in a way that is different than every other melee character. And so it like, there are a lot of things that don't feel like an afterthought. And from a material standpoint, from a weapon standpoint, we didn't even talk about the weapon upgrading system. Like, everything has a really strong purpose, and it's so satisfying getting all those proficiencies up. And it's like, okay, the weapon proficiencies taught me how to use this. Now I have access to all of them, and I can chain them all together, and it feels so good.
I love how you can use the Buster Sword throughout the whole playthrough if you wanted to.
Yes.
Right? You can.
Huber's happy.
You
pretty much did.
You can stick with these weapons if you want to, but there is like unique abilities on every weapon. Like, one recovers MP like 50% faster, and I'm like, wow, that's a big difference. Like, all of them have like these super unique things that they do. So they're giving you like reasons to try the game in different ways.
And I like that there's only 6 of them per character. It's good.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's like if there was too many, it would almost feel like you're having to make too many.
They got to hold back a bit. Like what they did with and like I think the only thing that was a little underutilized, because I think they're holding back, and also it's probably going to be something that needs maybe spend some more time on, is the enemy skill materia.
Yeah,
only 4 abilities right now. I think they're holding back because they're like, we're going to set that loose next part. Like,
because of the material limitations, and I just didn't have steel or enemy skill. I got no enemy skills on my first playthrough. I'm going to get them on hard mode. So I just missed that completely. And I love enemy skills, one of the coolest things in the original FF7.
Yeah, they really fucking nerfed that shit into the ground in Remake. It's like completely useless, basically. And Rebirth is actually useful.
Yuffie is like one of my least liked characters.
Mostly because of the stats.
She's gonna be a fucking ninja.
Instead of just throwing this big wheel, which she does in the original, like that's about the extent she goes through. You're gonna be like doing all this like crazy stuff.
I hope she has like buffs and stuff. Like, Yeah, it does like weaving signs and stuff.
I'm just thinking about like Ketchi, dude, and like throwing dice or something. Like, what the hell?
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Oh, he said Kate She. Interesting.
Can we talk about the incredible moment where our characters are going through the saddest possible scenario they could be in, and an anthropomorphic cat shows up and starts weeping?
Kyle, I thought of you immediately.
Yeah.
What?
I was mad.
What is going on?
The
The game
He's
almost
messing around
remains a
already.
little too traditional sometimes. Like, it almost forgets that.
Talking about
people
the
are gonna be
Sector 7 plate
confused
falling.
by that.
Fucking Kate Sith up there.
And it's truly weird that human, he got in his suit and is just like, hey, I got to get on top of the building right now.
Yeah.
Watch this. Man, I don't know.
He didn't get in the suit. It's a toy.
It's remote controlled.
Yeah.
Remote controlled, excuse
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But like,
He's like
but
piloting.
basically pilot.
Oh
like,
yeah. Like the
and, like,
spot it gets
okay.
on.
Let me get down and look like it's crying right now. That's like so weird to me.
That is freaking weird as fuck.
Dude, I guarantee you, he's in a Chadley VR thing.
It has
I
to be.
guarantee
Right?
you.
Gotta be
it's
Chadley. Dude,
emulates-
what if Chadley made that?
You didn't guarantee shit. You can't guarantee shit.
He undermines
Oh,
shit.
that's
You don't know anything?
You get, I guess. I heard about Chadley. You get when you beat all the VR mission stuff. I haven't gotten it yet. You get another Chadley cutscene.
You get a long one actually.
Reveal about
Yep. How he's actually a cyborg.
But yeah.
I got spoiled for my second playthrough.
Wait,
too, so I
wait.
want you to
Ben,
experience it.
Ben, earphones off. Earphones off. I want to hear this.
Ben.
Ben.
If you're gonna hear it, I'll hear it.
Okay, all
All
right.
right.
All right. What's
You
going on with
can't
Chadley?
headphones off in spoiler mode.
What's going on with Chadley?
Are we doing it?
Yeah.
He's a robot. He's an android from Hojo.
He's a cyborg.
Damn it.
Kyle's face says it all right now.
But he's attracted to Cloud.
He experiences
robot.
weird emotions that he doesn't understand.
Yeah.
Because he's a fucking android.
Wow, Chadley.
This game is amazing.
Mind blown, dude.
I love this game.
It kind of justifies him being all over the
Yeah.
place.
It
Dude.
does, yeah. He follows. He's just literally battle assessing Cloud.
The
That is
Chadley
so cool.
clones watch.
Like
That's so
Hojo
cool.
does.
Yeah, Hojo made him.
That's really cool.
Chadley Roth comes up next game.
I should have headphones off. I am so mad.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
It's to regret, dude.
Oh, that's great.
Chadley.
Chadley, the
Love
stupid
Chadley,
character.
dude.
It's
Love
all
him, dude. He's
interesting
so
suddenly.
Perfect name.
I hope
They couldn't
Chadley
name
is
him
the
a
final
better
boss
name.
of like all
Oh.
the VR
Or-
stuff at the end.
I want to bring up something we didn't even talk about is Roche, a soldier.
Oh Jesus Christ, Roche.
The Dante of Final Fantasy VII Remake, dude. What did you guys think?
Well, like, no, I'm sorry. I like Dante too much to put Roche on the same level as Dante.
Yeah,
I'm
Roach
sorry,
is an
I can't-
extreme.
I
He's a
can't
Final
do that.
Fantasy character, right?
Yeah,
Like he's a Final Fantasy
he's
character.
just
Like
goofiest.
He's an Advent
Goofy
Children
as hell.
character, is what he is.
yeah, he's an Advent Children / like maybe an FF10 sort of like I'm crazy.
Yes,
I'm doing this.
yes.
I'm a hyper.
He's
like,
too happy for having children, dude.
did you get the piece of dialogue a bit later when you're at Aerith's house, and they mention about soldiers because it's like it's even aware when he shows up that the other guys that are working for Shinra are like, oh god, it's that guy, get the hell out of the way.
Yeah. Everyone thinks they're
Everyone's
crazy.
afraid of him. He's crazy. So they're sort of setting up that soldiers are nuts.
Yeah, the Mako, dude. It fucks with
the
their brain.
Mako fucks with them.
Yeah.
Like they are like psycho like magic sort of like superheroes.
Cyber psychos.
But
Yeah.
it's gotten to all of their heads. So I kind of love the idea.
Well, they're
that
also just
Elvira
super
does the
strong.
thing too, where she's like, you boys made a trade, a real life for power.
Yep.
You can't have both. I'm like, oh my god. So what are they gonna do with Roche? I'm like, I wish there was more of him because I want to see.
What do you
more of
think?
that.
He
I
wasn't
wanna
trying to
see-
be.
I wanna
Roche
see
wasn't trying to be a
break. I don't
regular
know if you guys
person
talked
anyway.
about
That's
it
a weird
earlier. This
reference.
is more like compilation of FF7 stuff.
It's not.
President Shinra tells Cloud about what happens to soldiers, that they go through cellular degeneration. that they're
Yeah.
dying,
Mhm,
that they
Right.
essentially go through
That's
the
not
highest
compilation
high in their
stuff. That
possible life,
happens-
that they become gods essentially,
Yep.
and then they're nothing. They're
Mhm.
taken down to nothing. So they're setting up some interesting stuff for Cloud there, right? That is very Crisis Core. But at the same time, they're setting up for moments of Roche coming back, like in the future, and hunting you down. And he starts degenerating.
Yep.
And he starts realizing that he lost his life. And he goes back to the way he was. And he's like a husk of a person that is like, don't make the same mistake I did. Like they're gonna take that same character development that we had for everybody else with this crazy.
There was no
hyper Final
mistake he
Fantasy
made.
character, and they're gonna ground the shit out of him. like
Mhm.
eventually.
I mean, Hojo fucked with them and turned him into Black Robe.
And all the characters like, who's this guy? Like even everyone in the game is aware.
And then he's
he's
just
crazy.
that's
Everyone
it.
hates him.
That's all you need. Yeah, you just need somebody to react to it. Yeah.
Yep. So like if they eventually ground the shit out of him like in future games and he becomes a recurring boss, but then by the time like imagine the last time you fight him, he wants to fight, but he doesn't know why. He's just you'd have to kill this poor guy. He just wants to be ended. Like that's how you handle this.
It's gonna
shit.
start deteriorating, man. His hair's gonna turn gray.
Yep.
Crisis Core
He's gonna go through the weird like skin's peeling. Like there's nothing left of him.
I
don't know if they're gonna do that to
Genesis
Cloud,
Watch.
right? I don't know if they're gonna carry that stuff. If they're gonna carry that theme to Cloud in the end, that Cloud thinks he's going to eventually die too, and he has to make decisions before he dies. But that would make a lot of sense too, because that's what he goes through in Advent Children. Like he has this quarrel that I'm dying, my adopted son is dying, and like what do I do like with this time? And maybe they can actually make it better than Advent Children this time because it was a mope fest in that game. Maybe that's the sort of way that they're introducing that we can fix that story, right? We can fix the issues we had.
So I don't like Roach. Let me correct myself. I didn't like Roach. I thought he was very forgettable, and I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't even talk about Roach during the spoiler mode. The spoiler mode has made me super fucking pumped for what they do with Roach next.
Dude, he's gonna be Punished Roach later on, man.
Yeah,
Punished Roach.
He's gonna be a sad state later on.
Why are they telling you all that crazy? Why is everyone acting the way they do around Soldier? Why is all that stuff? You know, they're setting you up. Like the stuff that they set up at the beginning of the game happens. Like they set you up for later already. So it's pretty clear where all these stories are eventually going to go. Unless they just say fuck it and Zach's alive, you don't get to play as Cloud, right? Like if they do something crazy like that, genuinely disappointed if like these things go in no direction.
Yeah.
But considering where they've gone so far, 95% of the game is great in terms of its storytelling.
Definitely agree with that. What was I gonna say? Because you're a weird thing because you were talking about like so much of your theory, the level stuff, talking about like Advent Children stuff. Only thing I wanted to add was throughout any of your playthroughs, or any of you looking for Denzel, or trying to see if Denzel made a cameo or something. The kid from
I didn't
Advent
think
Children.
about it.
I was looking to see if Yuffie was like hidden in some places. I
thought someone, one of the Kyrie or whatever, she kind of reminded me of Yuffie. I could have seen Yuffie doing that role.
I could have seen like Kyrie is like a disguised Yuffie or something like that. Like maybe, but apparently she's not.
No, she's not. I mean, they talked about Wu-Tai like way more in this game.
Yeah,
so
I like that a lot.
Wait, he doesn't even know who Kyrie is? Fake fan.
Some level 4. This is level 4, but I got another one.
Fake fan, dude.
I was also sent this by.
I feel like I'm in a cult.
This game's crazy, dude. This game's crazy.
I think it's crazy he doesn't even know who Kyrie is.
The game introduces that Avalanche is a cell. That they are essentially.
How does Max not know who Kyrie is, dude? And he's supposedly a fan.
Deemed too hazardous, right? They're deemed too
extreme,
unstable. Too extreme. That's how they call it. But then you actually get a scene in this game of Avalanche as a cell of like, oh, these guys are professionals. Like, whoa, they actually understand what's going on, and they're actually coordinated, and they're not this ragtag group. Like, wow, that's actually really interesting. These guys have clout and money, and there's like an organization. The design of those guys is identical to Before Crisis, the cell phone game.
Oh no!
And that game investigates what the Avalanche cell is. Do any of you guys know what the Avalanche cell actually is?
But wait,
are they Wu-Tai?
I thought
they promised. They said they promised like Wu-Tai all of the materia in Midgar or something like that.
I had a friend. I hadn't played.
Well,
the
that was
game.
one of the operations, but the original Avalanche was not like the story of like FF7 Avalanche is they found the bunker of theirs abandoned because Avalanches existed for a long time. And then they co-opted their.
Does he know any
basically.
Before
So
Crisis lore? He doesn't. I
I
forgot. I remember now.
Like their eco stuff is not what Avalanche was. Avalanche was like fighting a war against like the Turks and Shinra for like forever with like help for Wu-Tai and like it was a massive thing.
Yes.
I had a friend tell me what like the eventual big reveal is because there's a big twist at the end of Before Crisis. And I'm reluctant.
Which one?
Because I could be spoiling you guys on
The summon
for future games. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I mean,
headphones on.
Can I guess what it is first, Max?
The summon.
Go ahead, dude.
Rufus Shinra is the head of Avalanche.
Mike got it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
It was
Yeah.
him because he wanted to subvert his father. Yeah.
The Avalanche cell is actually a subdivision of Shinra. They're like plants to lure out people that are fighters for the planet to eventually get rid of them.
That's cool.
That makes sense.
No, that's not what happened.
So
that's not what happened. Oh
Final
god.
Fantasy 7 Remake, completely different than the
So
original.
frustrating to hear
We're
him
gonna
say this
take
shit. It's
our
just
characters that
factually
feel like they're
wrong.
part of a bigger plan. Like our
Oh no.
No.
Rufus
Oh,
got him.
thank God he's got stopped again.
Stop it, Square!
Oh, he's back.
Stop it! I know I'm
Yeah.
spoiling your next game, but stop it! We got our characters.
You wish
that
you were
are-
spoiling
that
the
are
next
going to
game, you
eventually
fuck.
Feel like they're saving the planet with a greater good. They're going to be removed from all that shit eventually. They're going to be betrayed, and they're going to realize that they're all alone. And that your
Should I
efforts as a
explain it? I
team
guess
is
I'll
exactly the
explain it.
original
I just
FF7,
hate
where it's
pausing
just
'cause-
us against the damn world. And I'm like,
I want to
shit,
finish
we're
this
getting
fucking
bigger.
bullshit.
Like, right? These are the
Yeah.
things that are making me super confident.
Okay,
about
so
it, like really looking into it.
basically with
Getting bigger for
the Avalanche stuff, so before Crisis, so it started with, yes, it was financed by Rufus, but it was started by Elfie and fuck, I forgot the name of the other guy's name, but basically it was basically like a soul. I think Elfie was she was part of the experiment in Calm, where she was the Turks leader at the time's daughter, actually, but she didn't remember anything, and then she was like she was an experiment of Hojo, basically like a Sephiroth version of for Avalanche, essentially. And Elfie was super strong, but she had a materia inside her that was part of a summon that basically was like, I want to say like a Zodiac from FF14 type of situation. Basically, and then this summon, all the Turks fight at the end, and Elfie dies. And none of this is like, you never hear about this outside of Before Crisis, but this whole summon is in Midgar, actually, and they fight it in Midgar, which is like kind of crazy. But yeah, none of this, they don't know about any of this stuff. No one knows the stuff that's on this thing, and so they don't understand. But that was what happened with the Avalanches. They got basically fucked up by that whole situation, and Elfie dying, and
they were setting up for things.
Yeah, the whole like Corel reactor exploding and stuff like that, and a lot of the Avalanche people died with that.
Don't hit any of
yeah.
similar notes. They don't even hit nostalgic notes at that point. So the only thing I'm confident about that Final Fantasy 7 Remake isn't doing that. Like I said, 95% of this game is dreams. Like,
so yeah, did he say anything important here? Probably not.
Things before many ways for a lot of people. So I think there's a lot of reluctancy to many of us that are sort of concerned of where they're going with it, because they were setting up for things before, but we don't have much confidence because like the first movie was pretty good. It was okay. Like I think that The Force Awakens is actually the best of all of them, but the other movies just don't hit any.
Talk about Star Wars,
yeah, hit nostalgic notes at that point. So the only thing I'm confident about that Final Fantasy 7 Remake isn't doing that. Like I said, 95% of this game is dreams. Like, is just like, how is the combat, the music, everything looks so good. How is the story and the characters, like, how is it better than it ever could have been in the original? Like, and that's the part that keeps reeling me back. I'm like, okay, you know what? Instead of getting worried, I'm all in.
What would you be worried about?
Me too.
What are you talking about?
On the train, baby.
I'm floored. I'm floored by this game.
I'm also, I mean, I love this. I love hearing these theories and stuff.
Yeah, theories, Max, not true.
Fandoms have been
Kingdom
historically,
Hearts,
I mean, not just Kingdom, but Game of Thrones and Zelda being completely burned by thinking you have everything figured out with all this empirical evidence, and the creator's going to say, no,
And
we don't care.
Max
what you
is
had
always
before, we're doing
wrong.
it this
I
way.
shouldn't say always wrong, but Max is way too overconfident with his dumb
still expect-
bullshit.
and even if like they know people figure this out, they might
I
change
only
some stuff.
know
Who
him
knows? Like, I'm still
from these
expecting
Easy Allies things,
it's
by the
not
way. I
gonna
don't
play
know
out
him
as
from
anyone
anything
said.
else.
There might be some things that will happen.
Yeah, I agree.
But like, I think it's gonna like, I absolutely think they're gonna walk the fine line of we're gonna like bring you so many new things you didn't expect and mess with you on these different levels, but at the same time, we're actually giving you exactly what you wanted to. Most of the plot points are still
Just like the
happening.
first
You're
game.
still going to these places and they're fleshed out.
Yep.
We're also still surprising you, and like that is the most impressive thing I can see them do. And like I've sat on the ending for a while. I'm like a little bit with you, Max, where I don't necessarily like the dump truck coming through and hitting you at the end.
The storytelling of it is not good.
And like in the singularity area, like the more Kingdom Heartsy part was like the part I was like, whatever. I mean, combat's still cool, but like this narratively, I'm like, this is just taking me so much out of it, but does not just. I mean, as long they can do whatever they want, if they like, they can go crazy and shit and do break expectations. If they give me less of that and more of like that Sephiroth fight at the end. That was just like the most bonkers, holy shit thing. I was like, we're doing this now. We're doing this crazy shit now. I was like, yes, sure, do this. Like, break my expectations and don't.
There's a lot of their faces. That's the end of the original.
Like, this is
why are we repeating end of FF7 in part 1? Like, what the fuck?
We're
is
not
going
repeating
on?
it. It's visions of the future that happen in that universe and saying that they're not going to happen again. We're not repeating it.
Like he knows.
That's so cool.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Evo moment Sephiroth. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh my god, exactly.
Carrying Omnislash is so.
That's what I think. Oh, fucking YouTuber bullshit. Hype,
like these
hype
moments that
machine.
they're eventually like building up to, like these super, very Kingdom Heartsy, right? Like they're not telling us. Like they are. We're gonna put Cloud and Sephiroth in a singularity, right? Something that transcends time and space. And I do completely agree. We went from
Stop using that word singularity like you know what it means.
Motorball and climbing through vents to reenacting Advent fucking Children. Like what?
We're not reenacting Advent Children.
Like, dicing buildings in half and shit. Like there's a big disconnect here. My only argument for that, instead of it being like arguably like this is not great storytelling at the end, is that our characters are transcending time at that point.
They're not.
Our characters are in a place where time and space doesn't really matter. And it's
nope,
constant.
not true.
So
that's actually a real place.
They're going to be,
and it ends up being in Rebirth. It was actually a real place where they were fighting.
Whatever requires them to, because they're just existing, like free of past, present, and future. So they're in a world where they should be like at their most powerful at the end of Final Fantasy VII, which they are, or even in Advent Children. So, and I think that's why you get the visions of Advent Children and stuff like that. Our characters are reenacting. They're sort of reliving the future at that point. They're fighting. What are they doing? They're fighting Kaz,
no,
Maz, Yazoo,
nope,
and Kadaj.
No, they're not.
And then they're fighting Sephiroth. You're essentially repeating the future, and that's what Sephiroth kind of does throughout the whole game.
No, it's not. He doesn't do it at all throughout the entire game at a single time.
So exciting about it. There can be different party members.
God, he's so stupid. He has to be just stupid, right? He has to be just mentally deficient.
I think that I personally just think they're going to hit all the same story beats. They're just going to be more amplified. I don't think like Reeve is going to be a part of the party or something like that. Like as a character, or Vincent looks like a bird or a dog or a beast, or I think it's going to be fairly traditional. Yeah, and a lot of this stuff is to make you
bird or a dog.
Feel different.
What are you talking about?
The wondering is part of the fun, right?
The wondering is part of the fun. Like the wondering if like is
acting like everything is factually true that I'm saying is part of the fun, I guess, because that's what you're doing.
Like that will come back, but I don't think it's going to be
fucking hate him.
Dramatically different. Like, here's this dude Rockman as your party.
Yeah, they have side quests. I mean, there's just still also like fun, less like big brain stuff to think of. Is like how they could approach part 2 with you already being like level 50, all this materia. Like everyone's like the easiest solution. Everyone's like, if he comes and steals your materia, and you get Metroided.
Why does Damiani say stuff like this? Like obviously they're just gonna make you level 1 or whatever, and you just start again. Like it's the way it always is in every game.
And then you run into work and someone saw her.
Why do you have to have an explanation? There's doesn't need an explanation.
What? I can't give it back to you. Like that's a great character moment.
I feel like people really are not as smart as me, and it's really annoying.
There you go. Ready to go.
The only
you don't have to steal your material. We have to explain why you have no material. Okay.
My chat was, since I'm a huge Final Fantasy X fan, the Shinra building, the history tour, how in the historical photo.
Please don't reference there's something in Final Fantasy X in there.
Shinra, the character from Final Fantasy X, the character with the mask, the kid. Apparently, there's a picture of him as an adult in one of the photos.
No,
there was a masked guy. I didn't know that meant anything.
Chat is like my chat was adamant that is a Final Fantasy X world connection because they're supposed to be.
No, there's not.
They were like, hey,
no, there's not.
Do some crazy shit where they did Zack in the past. Now they're gonna go back to Final Fantasy. I was like, no. Don't
no.
You want to know?
Like,
you want to know how?
You want to go? You want level 15?
You know how well this game is handling its references to the compilation of FF7 and Easter eggs and Cloud holding his arm? They're going that far, right? They're not having Genesis show up and being like, "Let me tell you about Loveless."
Yeah.
Please no more Genesis.
To Genesis in the game. Did you guys see it?
There's no reference to Genesis in the game.
But
yeah, like Project Hojo tells the party, or it says something to somebody.
Breeding. It's about breeding with Aerith.
I'm gonna breed him with a soldier that has Project G cells.
Oh yeah, but that's all they say.
Genesis cells, yeah.
I love that everyone is so uncomfortable about that too. It's like, dude, what are you breeding?
Dude, no. And we talk about how big of a piece of shit Hojo is in this.
Yeah.
Oh my god. The moment where he's like holding.
Why is all these YouTubers have like fucking way over exciting everything, dude? Everything's 15 levels higher than it needs to be.
It was, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, they are. Well, that's Hojo, all right.
Yeah.
Like, yep, that's that character. It totally is.
No holding back.
Exactly. You often need to freak out. It's just the character.
There's another great compilation of FF7 reference in Crisis Core. You can receive emails, right?
Yes,
and
you do.
One of the emails is from somebody named Kunsel.
Yep.
Kunsel's essentially on your side like the whole game. They're like feeding you information.
Always going to reference the Kunsel thing, and
I think this is the same character. Like we don't know what's going on in HQ, but they give you quests, they give you information, they give you updates, they give you all this backstory. Like all this stuff as Zack, and they're like, "I'm genuinely concerned."
Hey, let me get console.
Okay? I hope you get back to me. Like they try to get a hold of you when you're off grid and you eventually die as Zack. Like all these characters like want you to be safe so that you eventually die, and that's why Crisis Core is kind of effective storytelling wise. Anyway, one of those is Kunsel that communicates with you a lot. There's a moment when Cloud is climbing up because Cloud knows who Kunsel is because you talk to them before you leave for Nibelheim, where a Shinra soldier is like, Cloud? Holy shit, dude, I thought you got smoked. Yo, let me go tell Kunsel. I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like,
that was cool. But I wouldn't scream like that.
That's how you don't ignore the previous elements of the compilation and do it in a really effective way. And that's all you hear about it.
And it's intrusive, right? It doesn't mean anything to anybody who doesn't care, right?
Not at all. It just means that Cloud was like, oh, Cloud did know people. Like Cloud was here at some point. Like he's not lying, right? And that's all that does. And it just adds a nice character development moment. But for people that played Crisis Core, it's like, holy shit, they acknowledged like this really minor character that is actually kind of cool and mostly
that was really cool.
So I think it's the same soldier that Cloud throws the sword at before he jumps out on his bike.
That's funny.
It's like, it's like freaked out by like, oh God, don't kill me.
How can you tell they don't have a
face? They just like drive past him. I think it's the same guy.
Cool. Well, how could you think it's the same guy? It looks exactly the same as everyone else.
God damn.
Yeah.
You're fucking idiot. Shut the fuck up.
For 2.5
piece of shit.
Hours, baby.
I'm so sorry.
So fucking dumb.
This is what people do.
This is what I wanted.
I've been waiting so long to talk about this shit with people.
Yeah,
not just a chat. Like I want to hear perspectives and like instead of just reading.
And instead of hearing perspectives, you just talk. I got it.
My biggest apologies if this group gathering has been me like dropping level 1, 2, 3, and
you haven't been dropping shit.
And I hope it hasn't.
Shut the fuck up.
Like, seemed like Insight Bloodborne levels of just insane, and you can actually see like where they're going considering the quality of the remake as it is already.
Yeah, you're saying what you want to happen.
And
That's
I
it. We got it.
genuinely had the same concerns that a lot of people did when I first saw it. I was like, that's a weird ending. I don't like for the game being so good, and then are they is this a fuck you to fans sort of thing? Are they doing that? And the more I realized when you hear the developers talk about Final Fantasy VII, when you learn that Nomura was the one that chose for Aerith to die in the original game, when you learn that Kitase and Nojima, who are the scenario writers and the director of the original game, actually wanted to kill every member of the party except for 3. You had to choose. Everyone in the original script of FF7, everyone was going to die at the return to Midgar. When you parachute in, they were going to die. They were going to get blown up. And you would have to choose 2 other party members to live with you to go fight Sephiroth.
Sid's got to go.
Mission before the suicide mission.
Sid and Kate Sith. This is super easy. Like that was the choice they were going to do, and Nomura had to remind them. Like, do you remember when in an interview you had to remind them? Remember when you guys were going to kill everyone, and instead of not only Aerith and Kitase is like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, you guys were going to kill every party member except 3, and for the end of the game. And Kitasa's like, oh yeah, we were going to do that. No, that was Nojima's idea. And I'm like, did Nomura save FF7?
Yeah.
Is that level 6? Like, what's going on? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's sort of, I get more of an instilled confidence that Kingdom Hearts is the way it is. And a lot of people are concerned because that's like what people know from Nomura and like Advent Children and stuff. But the more I've played this game, you don't direct character development and the story that is this game 95% of the way without a deep reverence for its characters and its world. And to think that that's going to be tossed away, I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, I don't know how this is going to come across from an audience perspective, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, but this has given me a whole new appreciation for the game that I didn't have, and that's really all I could ask for any conversation about
second
anything.
playthrough.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love this. Like, this was so fulfilling as a fan, feeling like my mind was opening up and all this stuff was coming in, and it's just like it's making the whole game completely exciting all over again.
The insight.
Couldn't ask for more. Yeah, insight. It is. It's just fucking insight.
Literally insight.
Yeah.
This, man, this just leaves me with the thing I was like dreading the most before this came out. The thing I was always going to be scared about was we're going to finish this game and now we have to wait for the next part. But all this is just making that wait even.
Okay, here's the interview. I was looking it up. So it says, Nomura said, did you know people have been coming to me for years now and saying, you killed Aerith? And then Kitase says, are you trying to blame me for that? And then Nomura says, okay, maybe I did kill Aerith, but if I hadn't stopped you in the second half of the game, you were planning to kill everyone off, but the final 3 characters the player chooses. And then Kitase says, no way, I wrote that? Where? And then Nomura says, in the scene where they parachute into Midgar, you wanted everyone to die there. And then it says, Kitase says, wait, I'm starting to remember. And Nomura says, yeah, remember you and the writer Nojima-san were all excited about this. I was the one who said, no way, and stopped you guys. You wanted to kill everyone except for the final 3 characters the player chose for the endgame. Nojima says, obviously, I'm a scenario writer, so I wrote the script where Aerith dies. But for that decision, we talked about through the main staff. We talked a lot about how the story would turn out. Nomura says, the theme of Final Fantasy VII was life. We sacrificed Aerith in order to give weight and depth to that theme. Her death was a tragedy, but if we suddenly killed off everyone else after that, it would dilute the meaning of her death. Nojima says, back then, it was so much easier to change the scenario on the fly. So every day we'd go back and forth about how to approach things. And then Nomura says, long after we made the decision to kill Aerith and the development had progressed considerably, I used to go visit Uematsu-san in his room just to hang out and talk about random things. One day towards the end of the development, I visited him to ask him, do you think we did the right thing in killing Aerith? Kasi says, really? Nomura says, he said, sure. he thought so. Katasi says, "Hawk, so casual." And Nomura says, "I was relieved to hear it." So yeah.
Like harder now, which is like
I'm happy for the wait now. Actually,
I mean,
I kind of am too.
Yeah,
I like this theory, and people are going to keep finding stuff, and there's going to be even more YouTube videos talking about like what's actually potentially going to happen. And
yeah,
it feels like we're at the beginning of when like Infinity War came out, and everyone's like wondering what's going to happen to like Endgame and stuff, and we're like that little in between section right now where there's like all this extreme excitement, and that movie was so good, and what's going to happen next? Like it kind of feels like that again.
Actually, saying every single character from all the Final Fantasy games is going to show up at the end to kill Sephiroth.
Every single one.
I'm saying that I'm going to make an easy allies bet that at some point in Final Fantasy VII Remake, Cloud or Zack or Sephiroth or some of our characters will see PlayStation footage of Final Fantasy VII.
The MGS4 moment?
Yeah, absolutely. I guarantee. Easy allies,
man.
What?
Shadow
I'll take the bet.
moment.
I'll take the bet.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I'll take the bet.
All right, easy allies.
What are you talking about?
Or some of our characters will see PlayStation footage of Final Fantasy VII.
The MGS4 moment?
We'll see PlayStation footage?
I guarantee.
What are you talking about?
Man.
Bet. Shadow
I'll take the bet.
moment.
I'll take the bet.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I'll take the
All
bet.
right, all right, all right. I don't know what's being bet.
The dreams.
But
It's going to be a dream sequence.
everything's on the line. It's good, right? Like this is not a game where that seems like that's outside of the realm of possibility.
No, nothing's outside the realm of possibility
It's
now.
not. Yeah, it's
Wait,
like,
what if they just make a new area in like pre-rendered background
and
FF7 PS1
it's Cloud
style?
having a dream. Like it's Cloud like going to Gongaga or something and talking to Zack's parents or some shit like that. Like this game actually sets up that can happen.
Dude,
Like,
they
Max,
could do sorry, go ahead.
If I lose a bet, I'll download Killer Instinct and spend a week trying to get good with one character.
And what would I have to bet on my end? Are you still going to be streaming a lot, Kyle?
I'll be
Like, in
streaming from
general?
time to time.
From time to time? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll bet like 100 gift subs in your channel.
Okay, great. Great.
Let's go with that. And wait a minute. I'm predicting that it's going to happen. You're predicting that it's not going to happen.
That will not happen.
Okay. All right. And this is going to is a long way away. But
this is a 10-year bet.
Yeah, this is a 10-year bet.
This is some serious like 7 E3s from now. Like,
Yes.
this is some like live stream time shit happening at the moment.
Yes.
What if it's just
I'm
like
down.
an arcade game at Gold Saucer where you just play the original arcade
That would
game?
count.
Hey,
That
would
counts.
count.
Kyle,
Yeah.
do you
Okay.
see those
That would
floating ghosts around you right now? They're trying to cover your mouth.
Holy shit, dude.
This was super fun. I'm
yeah,
glad we had
this
this
was
conversation.
awesome.
This was really, really fun.
Thank you, Max, for joining us on this, man.
Thank you guys for listening.
Being so
Dude.
enlightening with this and
It
passionate.
would be so
Part
much
of the
better
live
if you were.
stream now. That's what it
Dude,
feels
But
like.
it is what it
I
is.
mean. Like that. I said level 3 is you've entered the live stream.
Yeah, you haven't entered shit.
That's really what it felt like to me as I was figuring this shit out. It's honestly what it felt like has felt like to me since the very beginning. You guys want to hear some potential, the last level 4 thing?
Yes, give me all the levels.
Yeah. Leave this with
Give me a
little
potential
drop.
negative
Yeah,
level
go watch
75.
The original trailer from 2015 with new perspective and listen to what they say.
Pulling it up right now.
Oh, the narration?
Like the narration.
Okay.
Like
Your
just
union in
that's my last request for anyone that is like finished FF7 and you kind of see what's going on, and
Maybe
with the narration felt like it was describing fans, right? The narration felt like the same description we sort of gave the plot ghosts, that it's describing the fandom of Final Fantasy VII. That's what makes that trailer so amazing. But it's describing the reunion. It's describing FF7. Oh God, it's not. It's describing that we're remaking the timeline. That Final Fantasy VII Remake isn't describing that it's a remake. It's Sephiroth remaking everything.
Nope. You're fucking stupid.
Chills, dude, just thinking about it.
And that shot of Barrett and Cloud walking through the light is them walking through
my
one of the
God.
time portals. Yep.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, there's sliders
I've
and they're
seen that
sliding
song
through
probably
the
in the final game,
universes.
believe near the end,
Barrett
like,
and
one of the final
Cloud, that's
things
what
they
they're
do.
doing. That's exactly what you see in the trailer.
You guys.
You see that they're actually traveling between planets where
I feel like I don't know
each of the
anything.
planets is Final Fantasy 7, and each of the planets is different Final
When Aerith
Fantasies.
was describing at
Fucking
the
idiot.
end of the game what the wisps are, and
You
she's
actually
like,
believe
every time you're
that?
close to me, something gets taken away from me.
She feels less like herself.
She says, follow the flowers, like follow the yellow flowers, and it shows a flower like wilting. Remember the shot from the first trailer where there's a black Sephiroth
Oh, the feather
from like Advent Children Sephiroth that falls in next to like a crumpled flower.
Just Sephiroth. It's not
already
Advent Children
wearing those
Sephiroth.
They're already setting up for shit. Jesus, man.
Yeah.
I was not ready when I went back and I started paying attention to all this stuff. That from the key art to all this, it's been in front of our noses the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Geniuses.
sure. Okay.
Geniuses.
Sure. It's something.
I hope no more like comes out the final part.
And I'm gonna come back to all of this stuff at the end of the third game, and then we'll just know everything, and he'll probably still think that he's right about everything and never that he's wrong. And it's like you look through the comments of the Rebirth video, and you'll just see everyone thinks that he's so right about everything. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
It really is.
He just is making up shit, and he's wrong 99% of the time.
I think is going to do it for this episode of Spoiler Mode.
Oh, he really wanted to say something instead of putting a thumbs up.
Guys, I've been waiting
I
to
don't-
talk
I don't
about
wanna
this
see-
for weeks.
I can't.
know.
Yeah, the comments
like
are
the
going to
most
be.
fun I've had all
Brad's
year.
been
dude.
waiting longer than me, to be honest.
Just like,
Like,
I've been wanting to talk to
Poor
you
Brad,
so
yeah.
bad about this
Yeah.
Man,
game.
Brad.
Just make sure I'm not crazy when I think about stuff because I didn't hear anything from anybody.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's like therapy.
That'd have been torture, man,
Yeah.
for sure.
I feel like I just need to watch the Ketchi doll breaking down emotionally, like on a loop. Like I just
Dude,
need a
me
gift
too.
of that repeating.
yeah.
Seth, you mean?
That-
Kate Seth doll?
It's your state of mind right now.
Oh, I have the final thing to.
Oh shit.
give.
Please stop talking! Oh my
I'll
god.
let you all
Okay,
go
is
now.
this the post-credits?
I got the last thing that will remind you.
He
guys
has
why
to
you
say
should
the
be
last
excited
thing to
about the
talk.
remake. Or I'm sorry, part 2 of the remake. Avalanche, local florist, cat rat dog, or what is it? Rat dog.
Rat dog.
Yeah.
Lab. He mentions,
rat
like,
dog.
Yeah.
I'm like, this game is incredible. Like,
Okay,
that
great.
simple moment
Great
alone
addition.
is
Yeah.
just so exemplary of what like Final Fantasy 7 is, and they
The
get it.
smile moment, dude.
Oh, I
is
love the
one of the
smile
best moments in the
moment.
game.
Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's all I-
Great
before we
addition to
go,
the conversation.
Max,
Totally.
you let our viewers and listeners know where they could catch your stuff at if they want to hear more, see more.
Yes.
Please don't.
Shockingly, there's some Final Fantasy 7. I'm going through a playthrough right now on my main channel, youtube.com/miles923 or Maximilian Dude on YouTube. But for the majority, I'm actually a huge fighting game fan. Funny enough, FF7 Original is my favorite game of all time, and it still is.
Exactly. You're
But if
into
you're
fighting
looking for
games.
a
You
lot of
don't
fighting
really
game
know
content
anything
and
about any
coverage
Dirge of
and
Cerberus
gameplay and
before Crisis.
theories
You don't
and
really
all this
care about
kind of
that stuff.
Then you can check it out on my YouTube channel and Twitch at the same name, Maximilian Dude.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Ben, for joining us as well. And hope all of you who are watching and listening enjoyed. And we'll see you next time.
Spoiler mode, final warning, spoiler.
Yep. Oh no, they did another one for intermission. Oh, fuck me. Did another one for intermission. So I guess I'm gonna have to do this one too. Fuck. All right, I'm gonna take a break, but we are gonna have to do this one next.
I'm Michael
Motherfucker.
Damiani, and I
Oh god. How they doing on intermission? I haven't seen this one. Fuck. All right. We're going to have to do it. I just want to get all this shit done today. My dog's fucking going nuts as he does. All right, be right back. All right. I just want to plow through this cuz this is like now it's this all these videos are gonna be like 10 hours long total, so it's gonna be fucking crazy, but I just want to get this done. So Here we go.
Finished Final Fantasy VII Intermission.
I'm Maximilian Dude, and I have finished Final Fantasy VII Intermission.
I am Brad Ellis, and I have finished Final Fantasy VII.
I am
Intermission.
Fast Forward Gaming, and I have finished Final Fantasy VII Intermission.
Now.
Spoiler mode, final warning, spoiler mode activated.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a bonus spoiler mode, if you want to call it that, because this one is not for patrons only. This is going out for everybody, so enjoy it, because we're joined by Brad Ellis here and special guest Maximilian Dude, the return, kind of like the reunion for Easy Allies and Final Fantasy VII spoiler talk.
Let's just use that. Yeah, let's go with some reunion in the title of the video in some way, just for the excellent clickbait.
Reunion theory. There we go. Final Fantasy VII Intergrade and Intermission. Woo! Came out of nowhere in terms of dropped in the middle of like E3, right before E3. So that's why it's taken a little bit of time to get around for us to do this. But man, that DLC and that ending, I think, one, surprised by what was in the DLC, and then super shocked about how much they showed in the ending about what they were teasing.
That just kept on going. I was like,
exactly.
Yeah.
What?
It's like 3 cutscenes.
It was like the end of the freaking Return of the King, man. It was like Lord of the Rings. It was like,
Yeah,
oh,
seriously.
that's the Eagles flying. All right, we're over
Just
now.
put Frodo on the damn boat.
I agree. It kept going and going and going. I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this still going? This is awesome.
What you got to play in Intermission with you playing as Yuffie, seeing that perspective, and how did you feel about diving into extra content? You know, did you like what you saw? Did you like how Yuffie handled? Did you like where they went with it?
I guess I'll go first, and I'll let Brad give some impressions too. But yeah, just in terms of a DLC package add-on, I think in summary,
Of course you think you should go
like,
first.
Really quickly summarize in like one take, felt more polished than the actual game itself sometimes. To the point where it felt like the devs were a bit more comfortable with Final Fantasy VII Remake and the direction and approach they were taking. And fans were like kind of happy with it for the most part too. So they're able to do some kind of interesting stuff. So much to the point where even the process of revisiting areas that had pretty boring side missions as far as like additional content and stuff in the main game when you're running around, is it technically Sector 7?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like visiting all the people in Sector 7. It's cool world building, but it doesn't give you a lot to do except like hunt cats. And now I had a lot of fun with Yuffie looking for turtle flyers and playing Fort Condor. I'm like, wow, this is genuinely way more fun and way more engaging than before. And I think that was the goal of Intermission, was to fix a lot of the problems that core FF7 Remake kind of had.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think Sector 7
I don't think there was any core problems. I don't think that's true at all.
Because it is,
I think it's great that they did more world building, but there wasn't any core problems that they had to fix.
I loved Fort Condor. I just loved Fort Condor. It's so simple. And
Yeah, Fort Condor was amazing, dude.
It's so fun just to see your little units go out on the board and playing against other people from the main game. Like, I'm one of the few people that actually kind of likes Roche, so I thought.
Yeah, I liked playing against Wedge and stuff, and Roche. It was funny.
Flamboyant nature kind of on Yuffie, so yeah, I was really pleased with that. And I think just navigating the world with Yuffie, they made it a little more interesting now that you can run on walls and going up the ropes. I think that was just little steps that helped make navigating the world more exciting. And Yuffie kind of.
It was really fun navigating around as Yuffie. Yeah.
I think Yuffie's one of the
going around and climbing on the big vents and shit.
I feel like she has a lot more tech going on, and I hope they kind of give other characters more of that too.
Yeah, I'll say about the exploration part, I really appreciated what they did with Intermission and making it. One of the criticisms I saw leverage against the main game was that sometimes walking back and forth down these sort of corridor environments got a little repetitive, a little redundant, and boring. By adding in these kind of quick time style events, not quite mini game, but just something to interact with, whether it's like running along a wall, her doing like flips on like those little like hook things that she could flip off of, sliding down poles. I think there was more of that between each objective that made it felt a little bit more interactive and engaging from the user end, and I really appreciated that. and wish there was a little bit more of that in the original game, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and you think back to the original game, and it's like when you're playing as Cloud or even the other characters, what is the most interactive elements in the environments other than them just kind of like being pretty? Is slowly walking.
Yep.
And that's like that's mostly it for. And Tifa kind of has a different thing where she's like, you know, doing this like pole thing from the final area where she has to like go from pole to pole to pole, and that's like okay, but it's kind of like a different version of slowly walking. Like now, like Yuffie, they're like, okay, clearly the level design is not Square Enix's like most like appreciated standard in their games. Most of the level is there just to like kind of carry the characters and the action and the combat, and that is absolutely exemplified in 7 Remake. But at least in
what are you comparing it to, dude? What are you talking about? What do you think the level of design is supposed to be? Is it like Devil May Cry? I never played Devil May Cry. But like, what do you mean? Like, Devil May Cry isn't that good either. Like, what do you think is good level design?
Well, I kind of had fun. Like, it was just, instead of like being like, oh man, this level's so boring, I was more thinking of, man, this jazz music that is playing while I'm running on walls with Yuffie and throwing stuff at things and just looking for the next area I gotta go is actually great. And I'm not even thinking that this level's pretty bare bones and basic. No, it's not front and center is what I'm trying to say.
I think
just a few little touches.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, what do you not like about the levels? Be more specific.
But I'm curious about how they would have Cloud interact with stuff, because I don't think Cloud's necessarily going to be doing ninja shit all the time.
Sure.
But he could be. He's a soldier, so who knows?
No, he ain't doing no ninja shit.
Might avoid this requirement for the most part if part 2 ends up being more open world, and you know, you have exploration back on the menu here of like this vast area to explore. But it is, that's a good question, because even Yuffie just being able to toss her ninja star or whatever weapon she has equipped, because even that one segment I remember where you're going down that conveyor belt on that moving platform, I thought it was like a mini game, and it ended up being one, because at the end it actually tracked your score, like destroying the boxes, not the timed one later on, but the one where it's just like normal boxes. Just something as simple as that, it added a lot there, and it's like maybe they just have to think of clever ways to do that with each of the characters. Like Barrett's one. Barrett's got a gun, so maybe they do something similar with Barrett at some point.
Yeah, and even like it's funny. I think you go back and think of that Barrett sequence, and even that little something, right, where Barrett is doing something to the environment, like didn't make you think that, oh man, that level was insanely like, oh, this is going on and on and on. It did go on for a long time, but you didn't really feel that way the same way you feel about like the final area in the game, where it's like, whoa, we are still going through Hojo's bullshit here. So I kind of hope they approach it in the same way that a lot of the original Final Fantasy VII was, where they add almost unnecessary interactivity to so many elements of the world in the original FF7, and they really try to carry that in 7 Remake through mini games, you know?
Yeah.
Where like the mini game part is the thing that brings you there. But like cheesy little sneaking sequences, like little things that have you interacting with the environment or other characters in ways that was a bit more nuanced than other RPGs at the time, is really what made Final Fantasy VII have a lot of character. So if they could do that going forward, like just take the things that Yuffie sort of did and give everyone some sort of unique fun thing that they can do, instead of either just walking slowly.
And they kind of did that a little bit with like Barrett shooting shit, and you know, well, Tifa doesn't get to do anything, I guess. So
Fort Condor, Brad.
It's not really too
I
much.
was surprised by how much I liked it. In fact, I'm going to throw this out there. I think they might have. I'd be very interested if they ever do a behind the scenes talk about how that came about, that Fort Condor, like who developed it, because I noticed a striking similarity to a certain mini game in Final Fantasy 14 called Verminion, which is pretty much the same thing, just a little structured a little differently. I was like, when I was playing it, I was
they
like,
never talked about who developed it in the Ultimania, so I don't know if it says somewhere else, but
and like, it's like, this looks just like the thing in 14, but refined and simplified a little bit. So I was like, I wonder if they did that. But what I'm trying to get at is I had a good time with it. But to what you were saying also, Max, about things they could do, especially if it goes open world in the next part, another thing they could take from 14 I think would be really amazing. Sightseeing, like secrets logs. Xenoblade does this too.
No, they never did that.
Secret areas that are hard
they
to
did
reach,
snapshots or whatever, the picture
bonus,
things,
either
but
XP bonus or some kind of title or achievement.
Didn't 15 have that as well?
I think they did
like a quest.
I thought they did too. I'm like blanking on it, but like that would be perfect.
They did a picture thing, I think, for 15. I'm remembering, but
in the cave,
it wasn't like a big deal or whatever. Like not like Final Fantasy 14.
Secret like cavern with that the one where they say like there's like that materia found in or something, maybe that's hidden or something, or just cool stuff like that would be like a nice enough reward to get you to go off the beaten path, I think.
Do you guys think that Fort Condor will come back in the next game?
Oh, I was thinking about
well, it
that.
did.
I hope so, man. I hope they just add and expand it.
Yeah, so I was hoping they do. I hope they like when you get
In
to
fact, they reduced
Condor,
it, not added or
super
expanded it.
into the mini game actually there, because like they're promoting like that game or something because it's based off the actual place. I'm like, give me that Fort Condor gift shop where I can buy more units that weren't in the this version of the game or something. And I hope they get like really weird with some of these units, maybe some stuff from other Final Fantasy games, some
Different
enemies
maps.
maybe. Yeah,
Oh,
different
man.
maps too.
Man, I love the lofty ideas.
It's like an esports tournament.
The people
thing.
talk about on YouTube stuff. It's like, yeah, you can just go off, fucking go. Let's go crazy and make it like
that's a long
make it like triple triad for Final Fantasy 14. Like
keep coming back in like it's seasons or something.
like it just goes crazy and just has everything from every Final Fantasy. Like no, it's not gonna do that.
Throw in there too because Fort Condor.
Just make it simpler. It's always gonna. Most things are not gonna surpass your expectations, and just like every time I hear shit like this, it's like you know it's never gonna be as big, or at least I keep my expectations in check 99% of the time. I would say. I don't ever try to like overstate shit that things think you're gonna get fucking crazy. I'm always grounded in my thoughts.
How cool would it be if you get there and they're all like, "Wait, you're playing a game called Fort Condor?" And the Cloud's like, wait a minute, you're telling me this place isn't fictional? And like they can discover the fact that, wait a minute, this was a real place? Like Shinra just stole this idea and made their own thing with it? Like that sounds like a very Shinra thing, you know?
Yeah.
So that actually adds a wonderful little world building where Shinra just like goes out to places, sticks a reactor there and just goes nuts.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Well, I wasn't listening to what he said, but it's the game was actually made by Shinra to help with it's like
a tournament
help with marketing, basically, with
mini-games
making it sound like it's fine to attack Fort Condor. It's like supposed to be helping
Shinra. You
Shinra.
go through a tournament like, let's say you fight like Scarlet, she's one of the opponents, just something like that, or some of the Turks. It's so stupid, but I think it'd be really fun.
How cool? I mean, this is just us like literally fangasming for the sequel, but how cool would it be if you had to specifically fulfill all these requirements and fight all these people and like work your way up the chain to the point where if you confront Rufus very briefly and you have done all the other Fort Condor stuff ahead of time up until that point, Rufus in this one moment where he's like talk to-able is like, you want to play Fort Condor?
Yes.
Yo. And he's like he's like the secret
I want.
the secret Condor battle.
Yes.
Like that'd be sick.
That would be sick.
Dang. Yeah, they need to do more of that stuff for sure. I don't know if they're gonna go that crazy. I would love to see that.
No, I don't think they will, but
it was nice.
Yeah, how cool would it be if you just like you just start the game in the next Final Fantasy 7 and you just start as Noctis. Like, wouldn't that be cool? Like,
that will be a big question: is whether or not
let's just talk about stuff that just makes no sense to talk about. That's great. What if you started as you're just playing as Ifrit all of a sudden? Wouldn't that be cool?
Like what we did to Fort Condor, we're doing this. It's gonna be insane. You're gonna love this. It's I have high expectations for Gold Saucer, but yes, that is.
I have very high expectations. That damn roller coaster better be there, or I'm gonna be pissed.
Unfortunately, it wasn't there. That's sad. Yeah, I'm sad. They did the speed square, but still wasn't a roller coaster.
Yes.
You just can't get on it yet because it hasn't happened.
Until you actually do it.
Absolutely. There's definitely stuff we can theorize about part 2. I know later we're probably going to get into it. I want to back into the Yuffie DLC real quick, and I want to ask you about some of the story stuff, starting with the Avalanche, the real Avalanche, the underground.
We finally see the
Max doesn't know anything about that.
Yeah, how did you like seeing that? Getting more of that like world building about like the Barrett's group's a splinter group. Did you like the characters in this new Avalanche at all? I'm just kind of curious.
I mean, I liked them. It was just super brief. Like, I feel like these are going to be characters in part 2 or whatever. Like, but I don't remember a lot of their names. I remember Billy Bob because his name's hilarious, but it was just like a brief introduction to these characters. So, I mean, I liked them, but definitely need more.
Yeah, I liked him, but there wasn't much time we spent with them. I agree. Same. I feel the same way.
Guilty Gear. I think that might have been
Yeah, that's Billy Bob. Yeah.
But that's like kind of
Billy
about
Bob's
it.
a big
It was sort of
drinker,
there just to
and
prime you for what's going to be
what's her
happening in the
name?
DLC, the fact that there's mini
Starts
games
with
and
a
stuff.
Y, I
But
think. Is like
the general
really cute
characterizations are
and
good. Like, in the
nice,
same
but
way that even
and then the other guy
moments
is
where
not
you
really
run into Leslie,
memorable. Even though they come back in
the main
Rebirth, it's
game,
like they're not really
Leslie's character,
memorable.
It's fine. I think it works actually pretty decently. So Square at least has a pretty good idea about how to integrate their smaller characters and at least make them like kind of enjoyable. You're glad they're around. And you even get that feeling with Roche, especially in this one. They're doing a pretty decent job with like the new lore, right? Like the newer characters that are sort of here.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't forget the new characters. As you said, you know, they had Roche there. Was it Kyrie? I always forget
Kyrie,
her, pronounce her
Yeah,
name.
she was in it too, right?
Yeah, and she even like admitted like, oh, I even lost when I was cheating and stuff. Like your personality was still.
Yeah, you
intact.
play
I
against her. What do you mean?
that. I really liked.
First, and you know that.
I'm still not sure. Sonnen, the new addition. Yuffie's kind of
Sonon,
comrade
yeah.
who joins her in infiltrating Midgar to steal this ultimate materia from the Shinra headquarters, from lift it from Scarlet in them. His storyline. Did you like his development? Did you like his backstory about how he was kind of like being protective of Yuffie, kind of letting her be in charge, even though he really knew what was up, and you know the story with his sister about what happened with that. That's his motivation. You know, I'm just curious if you liked him as.
They didn't really give him. I feel like they didn't really give him much of a personality. Like he was like the stoic guy, and it's like you only have like it's like a 3-hour DLC or whatever. You know, it's a short DLC, so you don't really get much time with him. But it's like, basically, it's I don't know. You can't really do too much with the character in that short amount of time, especially if they die at the end. So it's like you can only do so good with it. But I thought they did a decent job.
Calm sort of guy, level-headed approach that has gone through some stuff and has seen some shit. And I feel that their dynamic is fantastic. I really enjoyed, putting these two polar opposite characters next to each other. So obviously, pretty good idea that Square understands.
Yeah, it was nice that they did two polar opposite characters. That was good that they did that.
Different. And give them a dynamic. And the dynamic is that the insane, eccentric, crazy girl is her boss.
I like that she's like in that boss role. She's like, oh, my minion.
A lot of those moments.
Even though it doesn't really make any sense, but it's still kind of cool.
Oh, geez. Every time you like face palms
it's
or whatever.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm
it's great.
This is how the audience feels.
It feels very natural. Yeah, their dynamic. It was, I think.
Yeah, he's taking the role of the audience. It was good. I like that.
Story. I don't know if it. I think it definitely set up enough where it's like obviously Shinra's a bunch of angry, evil assholes, and it sort of is more establishing that their influence on the world goes way beyond Midgar. So that's good. Did I feel like extremely touched by the fact that like he lost his sister and he's sort of comparing Yuffie to his sister? I thought it was handled well, but I don't know if Sonen's spoiler mode, like his passing, really like affected me super. It just to me it gave more character to Yuffie more than anything.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, oh, she'll have more to her character arc beyond her village or something like that with her dad. I actually like that he was trained by her dad. I thought that was really cool. Just a little nod. In terms of a sister kind of thing, I thought it was okay. I guess it's a motive that makes sense, I guess, but we don't get a ton of time with it, kind of thing. It's just like a brief taste, and I totally understand that for this DLC. And I'm sure they're gonna dive way more into that. But yeah, for now, I think it was all right.
And clearly,
yeah, I wish they did more of it in Rebirth too. But
the next parts, yeah,
this is going to be used against this character later on.
Yep.
And I get a bit of flack for this, but I mean, this is going to be some harsh opinions here. I don't know if many parties really had Yuffie in it in the original Final Fantasy VII.
Sure.
I think she might have been one of the least popular characters next to Cait Sith. Because she was kind of annoying in the original game, but she was specifically designed to be that way. And I think what they did with Yuffie in this is actually give her some more character, other than her like the pagoda story that happens in Wutai. I think they did a pretty damn good job of making me curious about where she's going to be going and what arc she's going to have, because even in this story she has an arc. She goes through some shit. And that's all I really wanted out of this DLC personally. I really wanted to see, like, are they going to make me like Yuffie? Like, is that going to happen? And I think they did a pretty damn good job by the time it concludes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's good. I wanted to know how you liked her characterization in this one compared to the original game, which you brought up the point where she, she was kind of like a, one-track mind, pretty much.
Compare Yuffie from this to like Advent Children.
Oh yeah,
dude!
Like
Yuffie
everyone in Advent Children that was
Cerberus,
oh my
she's
god,
just like
man.
a complete shithead in that game and doesn't do anything.
Didn't you play Dirge recently, Brad?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, good. So you have perspective.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you smiling like that? You haven't played Dirge recently. There's no way you have.
One of the final shots, like her seeing the plate drop, and just seeing that, being there to witness that devastation. And then on top of the loss of Sonnen, and then afterwards, her final shot of her riding off on the chocobo saying, I can't do this alone. And, she's trying to put on like that happy-go-lucky act again, saying like, I'm going to recruit people and stuff, which is like, okay, it's a tease of what is going to come. But I like it made her put more sympathy out there for her. That like, she can, she's experienced so much loss. And that like, I think it's going, I'm curious to see how it affects her, because I think a lot of these characters, it's just part one. I don't think any of them gone through their final change yet. This is just the first phase of like a much more in-depth character arc than they ever had. Like everyone likes to say Cloud in the original game had like the biggest.
Yeah, I feel like Yuffie was really underdeveloped. A lot of the characters were underdeveloped in the original game, but they did have that whole Wutai section, but even still, it was still
really happy with what they did with Yuffie.
Yuffie was really underdeveloped, and I think they're doing a good job with her here.
Like that devastation gets to her, if it ever, like, cause she came close to punching the hell out of Scarlet in that elevator, but she had Sonnen there to like kind of keep her in check. It's like, will she have a moment where she snaps or something, or will she have?
No, the plot won't let the main characters get hurt sooner than they're supposed to be attacked.
Yeah, and I think that there's going to be
like with Hojo on the beach in FF7 Rebirth, like you just. Like, they have a complete opportunity to just kill Hojo right there after everything, where he was just trying to kill everyone, basically, and do his experiment, and just nothing happened, so...
Aggressive, hyperactive character, it's probably going to be Red 13. Yeah. And Red 13 would be a great polar character for Yuffie to sort of, like, sit her down and talk about things. Well, she's just extreme and crazy, and, like, they have these two characters that are exactly opposite of each other.
It doesn't have to be one character calming down another character. It's the whole team.
Red 13 act with each other in the main game. It's so good, dude.
Yes, I would love to see that. Absolutely.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's the whole team calms Yuffie down. It's not, why does that be one character?
Think of this too, Brad and Max. Something I hope they either bring back or flesh out into something more than what we saw in Intermission is the kind of like the dynamic between Sonnen and Yuffie in combat, like activating that like link between them. They were obviously Comrade Shinobi, so like it like
no, they never bring that back. They have a doppelganger for Yuffie, and she does that, but that's about it.
Where if you have certain characters paired or you interact with them enough, you activate that kind of bond link where it you can go into some kind of enhanced attack mode between the two of you. Like
it would be cool if they had something like that exists, but that would be too much, and it wouldn't make sense.
I think it worked really well for two characters. I wonder about three, if it'll be too much.
Exactly, that's also
for a lot of people. But I am very into the idea of characters teaming up for attacks with each other. That's my shit. So I hope they do that.
Yeah, it definitely seems like this is almost a primer for what's going on in the future, because they have to expand the combat in some way, right? They have to do something more interactive than the main game was, especially in the sequel. And I mean, I'll also say the two words that everyone's thinking on top of their heads, which is dual techs.
Yep.
And yeah, like it's one of the most fun elements in a ton of RPGs that especially like turn-based is just combining characters to do interesting, cool, and different things. But
yeah, talk about the synergy abilities. Yeah, that was a good idea. I'm glad they did that.
The fact that they could amplify those elements possibly through other means. Like, how cool would it be if it wasn't just through leveling it up and fighting and it's like a point-based system? How cool would it be if it's like, depending on how much you talk to these characters, depending on how much you include them in mini games, depending on how much you do this stuff, and suddenly if you do all these things, you like maximize this sort of relationship status that allows you to do this big ass attack with them in battle. I think the other thing that deserves a lot of credit is the way it's integrated into the controller. Like, it just works. Like it's not a very complicated system. It takes a little bit of brain power at the start to sort of understand, okay, so now I do this with Sonnen. I activate Sonnen's like dual tech like sort of ability, and then we can go do stuff together. But the idea that L2 button even if you're in combat with the other characters, that L2 button could be used for that in the future, you know?
Yeah, the reason I think this might come back, maybe not for everyone. Brad, you might be right. It might not go as for combat purposes. It might not go as far as like every character can do it. But one of the concerns is we've had ample opportunities in the original game for Red 13 to have technically been playable, but he was AI controlled. And everyone's like, oh, they just didn't have enough time to finish his combat, but they're waiting for part 2. But we saw how Sonnen was handled. You don't control Sonnen in real time. You can issue commands to him, but you don't switch over to him, which is different. So what if Red 13 is controlled that way, like through Yuffie or other characters, is that they aren't directly playable, but you can issue the commands to them, and you have
Nah, didn't happen. I don't think it's a good idea either.
That might fit that either Sid or potentially new characters they might throw in there.
It would be cool if they had like the off-screen characters do something though, like other than the backline commands, like when everyone else is dead except for one person. But yeah,
playable as every other characters. I think that'd be a big missed opportunity.
So you think Red 13 will be like traditionally?
Yeah, I think he will be. I think all the original party members will be.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Okay.
Like everyone's going to be playable. I even think that they're going to go kind of even crazier with this, like in sort of, because Square likes to do this, right, where they sort of match like the thematic elements of their game into their gameplay, into their story, like into their characters, with like the whole story's about this. And the next game is clearly setting up for something that's very open. The new director, I forget what his name is, but he's the guy that recently was like sort of announced from being the co-director of the previous game is now like the main director of this one, and Tetsuya Nomura is the creative director of part 2. He's a huge fan of Horizon. Like he has said in interviews several times, he loves Horizon Zero Dawn.
Naoki
Hamaguchi, yeah. Okay. So there's already this precedent that the next game is gonna be open. The world might actually be open. So in that way, you got to think of the combat too. So how are they gonna amplify the combat, especially taking advantage of potential next generation stuff? To me, it's like the dream situation is you don't have a party of 3 anymore. You got a party of all of them. PHS is in your pocket. You know, and you can
of course that would be the dream, but
just figuring out how
let's be realistic.
It's kind of
like you could have your main 3, I guess, and just you tap a button to bring someone in for a second to do a certain move or something like that, and they just go back like Marvel style or something.
But then you have to have every character always set up for anything. So you'd have to have enough materia for the whole party at all times, which would be a nightmare.
In a traditional RPG, like a turn-based, that's like the whole point, right? Where you compose your party. But in a scope where we're going to be getting more and more characters in Final Fantasy VII, it would make sense like if you have a starters, but you can also utilize other team members to do stuff for you.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because I mean the original game did stick to only 3 characters at any point where was playable. But then again, I mean other Final Fantasies have gone beyond that. I mean we saw in real time in an open world game 4 characters in a party in Final Fantasy 15. Noctis and in the group, they were all interacting and doing stuff. And then even the more older school Final Fantasies, you up to like 5 characters at a time. I forget if it goes beyond 5. But in single player ones, like who knows? Maybe they just do. All of them are playable, as you said, Max. And it's like a toggle system, as you said, Brad, where like maybe some of them are like not on screen at all times, but like you just do like a call in, like, hey, I'm getting low on HP. Sub in for me or whatever. Yeah. Maybe it's even something like when they get the airship or something, it's like the airship's like above you and like just jump down from an airship, or they even they even hinted at this. Like I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself with like the extra ending stuff with the main cast. But when Tifa asked Barrett, are we walking the whole way? I'm like, all right, you're teasing me about all the mounts and like transportation shit we're probably going to get because you're going to get chocobos. But like, I mean, are you going to get the tiny Bronco still? Are you going to get airship? Will they have cars? Will you get into a car and be able to just like drive around? Because, I mean, they have the tech from 15.
I think that's kind of the challenge that they have going forward when approaching a next game that's going to be out in an open world. And even, with the combat, with the mobility of the characters around the world, you have to think like, so what's happening in the background when you have a PHS? Does everyone just go sit in a tent? Like, that's goofy. We have to do something about that. Like, that's clearly something we can update. So if the party's all with you at, like, all times, then how do you complement the combat with that, right? How do you want to make every character still feel important? Because clearly, in RPGs where you essentially have, like, your main 3 characters or whatever the game wants you to play as, they're the important ones and everyone just gets, like, stuck to the side. So I'd imagine that's something that they want to sort of tackle because every character in Final Fantasy VII has some pretty dramatic shit that is relevant to the story. Like even Kate's Sith, like really does. So I think the bigger goal that they have is.
Ooh, they didn't say Kate She or whatever. Good job.
All a part of that journey together instead of. We're just gonna stick you in PHS, and we're gonna see you when I need you eventually.
Yeah, I mean, my only counter to this is thinking to the combat as it exists now. Adding more than 3 on-screen characters to directly control might seem a little hectic because balancing. I think they had a nice balance with the 3. It felt just right. Maybe they squeezed in a 4th, but unless it's some kind of like tag system, or we keep bringing up the PHS because it already exists in the game. They even used it. What if you have to break up into 2 groups since like you guys are going to 2 different objectives and you can pick which one you want to do first, but and you can freely toggle, but it's open. You got to make 2 destinations, pick your groups.
That's pretty much what they did with the finale of 7 vanilla old game.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, there you go. You get to pick, and maybe that plays into that bonds thing, Max. If they do something like that, it's like who you pick. They might even give you a message saying who you pick here could affect, the outcome or the progress path you're going to take through the game. So
considering how what they've already done with the game and now the DLC and how they've approached a lot of these things and chosen to tackle the stuff that they weren't specifically good at even in intermission, I'm already thinking that Square is. They've thought of all of this shit already, man. They've thought of like, okay, we need to leave that out for like the next game and stuff like that, specifically where it's like we don't want to get too crazy and get too far ahead of ourselves, even with part 2, because there is obviously going to be parts beyond that. So I think they've definitely considered this stuff because they've already handled so many of the elements that we were really concerned about, where it's like, oh man, they're gonna screw up this part of Final Fantasy VII and people are gonna be pissed. That didn't really happen with 7 Remake. In fact, they nailed those ways and they nailed those elements in ways that we weren't really worried about. So I'm already thinking they got a pretty good handle on what fans kind of are going to look forward to in the future games, and it's just going to be like the sprinkling of all these super dope things like throughout however many titles they're going to be in the future.
I want to ask one last thing about the combat.
Titles in the future, what are you talking about?
I'd like to talk about it, but a specific thing I wanted to ask both of you about is regarding Yuffie. I think they solved one of my small gripes with the combat in the main game was aerial combat, how they handled flying enemies and how you could fight in the air. And maybe just Yuffie lent herself better to this type of combat, but it felt so much better. It felt like I was not just flailing around at times in the air. Like, I hope this hits. I don't know if this is going to do it, or I have to rely on materia. It worked because, being able to just toss out her weapon and then dash to it and follow it up, and then or using it to hit something and then detonating AoEs. I really like that, and I hope they take some of that and apply it to some of the other characters in some form. But yeah, do you feel like I did? Did you feel it was satisfactory, or do you think they need to do more?
It felt better, especially because you could tie in some of your moves with it, your like ATB gauge stuff like that, with like the tornado or whirlwind or anything like that. I think it'd be really cool if you could do some ATB moves in the air later on down the line, if they want to improve combat that ways. I kind of like the idea of some characters being better at air, though, too, also. Kind of like how Barrett was. Like, I think of a lot of characters.
Yeah, I think that I'm really glad about the way they did it with Rebirth, and like almost everyone can go in the air. I don't think Red 13 can, unless there's a one I don't know about, but the couple characters I've got him grouped up with, it doesn't ever, there's no way to get him in the air. But everyone else, yeah.
But to me, there's like,
I think they did a really good job. Cloud has that aerial move that's one of his strongest moves, and yeah.
Vanilla, you'd have to like remind me. Long range materia like fixes this whole thing, right? Like you're going to sacrifice a materia slot for the fact that the character's just going to go whack and it'll hit things far away.
Yeah.
Probably for like less damage.
Except that doesn't exist, so yeah, that would solve something, but that doesn't exist, so I don't know why you're saying that.
That enables the characters to have like a attack option, click to the right, long range attack,
Yeah. The only thing I worry about that is if it's implemented maybe in that way, it becomes an essential materia, like where I feel like I have to have this materia no matter what kind of thing. Yeah. And I like the idea of like different material for different situations, but I think that's actually a really smart way to deal with it. Maybe you do less damage or something if you do like the range.
For sure, you have to balance
something
that
like
shit
that.
out.
Some trade-off, yeah.
Like Cloud kind of goes crazy. Like every character sort of just hits the X button and goes crazy.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if like you can give other characters commands and just let them do like a long range attack. Maybe that long range attack could cost an ATB, but is really strong. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good way to balance it. So you just don't like spam long range and everyone's sitting here 6 miles away, beating up Shinra soldiers that can't even reach you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something
I like that idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So something I keep like thinking about how they could possibly ramp up the combat, you know, because obviously I don't think it's going to be 1-to-1 when I get into part 2. I feel like there will be new enhancements, new changes that they make. Not maybe drastic changes, but I feel like this is how far they go. Will they be like, as you said, Max? No, everyone's getting long range materia. We'll just give you one at the beginning, and like you decide who gets to use it, who's not a range
maybe that's
character.
like a limited materia.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe you only get one.
It's all just theory crafting of stuff that doesn't end up happening. So, yada 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 yakety smackety, boring.
Well, here we go.
Are you ready to get? I think this.
Oh, you're ready for level 16?
Our thoughts on like the actual, gameplay, the combat, stuff like that, because even though this was DLC, man, that ending still brings up so many questions and reignites the debate again. I mean, maybe it cooled off a little bit after last year. So much time had passed, but it is right back in the limelight again about what the heck are they gonna do story-wise going forward, because we thought we had answers and now we got new questions that challenge what we thought we knew.
Yeah.
And it really, like, the end of that sort of just even cements more that these guys are hyper aware that people are clamoring for anything, and they are being so specific about what they are showing and what they aren't showing in order to keep that a mystery.
But yeah, they spend millions of dollars on the game. And they have to put things in the game to make it specifically in the game, so that makes sense.
Zach alive? Where is Zach alive?
Where
like,
is Zach?
Is there two timelines type of thing?
Yep.
I understand for everyone watching, this is spoiler mode, but if
Everyone knows there's two timelines. What do you mean?
DLC, it's not just Yuffie's ending. We jump to the main cast and we see a long ending play out for them as well. We get a little bit more info on where they're going to. I think we all knew where they were going to, but it's like we get all this stuff, and then there's a teaser at the end with going back to Zach. Zach in front of the church in Midgar, goes through the doors. He's like really cute scene. He's like practicing what he's gonna say to Aerith after not seeing her for how long, and then he opens the door and it's just a scene he wasn't expecting. All these people in there crying, mourning, like what is
that doesn't really make sense, and I still don't understand what that is.
Close up on his face, and his like eyes gonna like almost like looks like he's gonna like break down.
Yeah, they still haven't explained where does that take place, because that wasn't ever referenced really in Rebirth. So I feel like this might be just a dead end here.
It's not even the fact that what he is seeing, it's what he's not seeing.
Oh, yeah.
Right. That's the idea, is
Shut
that
up.
there is a character missing from this situation. So I think that's a very clear directional opportunity. And there's a lot of other elements in that scene that are like, we want to present the situation that Zack is alive somewhere, but Aerith might not be. You know, that's sort of the initial conclusion that you're getting is that the people in here are mourning for something and they're hurt and they're like on the ground crying, right? And there's like a lot of something traumatic just happened. Yeah. So either Aerith is missing, right? She's been abducted or something terrible has happened to her.
And I'm guessing this is where he went when he came back with Cloud. That's just a guess though. But we don't know where he went when, like the first thing, but I would assume that like I gotta go to Aerith first. Like as soon as I get to Midgar, like that's the first port of call is we're gonna go see Aerith. So I'm guessing that's what it is.
There's like the flower bed. There's like an out of focus shot of the flower bed, and the flowers are all like wilting and falling.
Okay, so I remember that the flowers are dying there. So yeah, that is that broken world then that ends up being where Zack is in the start of Rebirth. So that is the same timeline probably then.
And to me, that's like insanely fascinating. And I don't really have a conclusion whether or not Aerith's alive or Aerith's dead, but that seems to be what they want us to think, that something terrible has happened to Aerith, or she might not be alive because Zack is now alive there.
That's interesting. So that I definitely thought about maybe that's what it implies, Max, that Aerith is not there, or maybe Aerith is dead. let me say this, because I've seen a lot of articles, a lot of outlets jumping to this conclusion, not the one we just talked about, but this one I'm about to say. There are several outlets who are trying to maybe assert that this confirms perhaps Zack is now in the same timeline as the scene we saw specifically. That Zack we see is in the current same timeline as Cloud and friends who have already gone off, and that it's just the refugees after the fall of the plate or whatever. They're just like mourning like their situation. Also, earlier on, we saw like it gets weird, man. This gets so weird because like earlier at the ending of Final Fantasy VII Remake, there's the scene where they cross paths but not on the same timeline, and Aeris in the middle. Like Zack is carrying Cloud, so it's like now he's all cleaned up and like. So this must be a decent amount of time after he's brought Cloud back to there. So it's like, how could that be the same thing? Because he's with Cloud already. Yeah, he's with Cloud already. How does that work?
You do consider that like, oh man, this to me seems like, oh god, they're on the same timeline. Like everyone's upset and pissed, and Zack is like, where's Aerith? Because she's out on the big adventure with everybody. But if you go back and you think about the events of when does Cloud and Zack survive that crazy battle, and when does Zack make his way to Midgard to eventually get to that church? That shit's happening like months, I think, before the events of where our characters are right now. So this is like the past, technically. So this is before the plate fall.
I think it is too.
Zack would have shown up and gone to the church to say hi to Aerith pre like current like Sector 7 plate fall. So to me, that sort of confirms that this might be still two different timelines. Like I think there's still, and that's like the question, right? We don't have answers to any.
Why would you not know that there's two different timelines? There's a different fucking stamp.
So much stuff that is being thrown in every single direction that, wow, we're going to be splitting this up. I think a lot of like, I don't think the dog chip bag, it was a red herring. I thought it was at first. Chips, I think it was there for a reason, and it is still.
Why would you think it's a red herring? God, you're so dumb.
And Aerith might not be.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's two timelines, definitely, because of the bag and because of them walking by each other at that point. I think
exactly. It's not even a question. Brad understands.
In the HQ or whatever, getting experimented on. So this could be the quote-unquote dark timeline of that. Or she's just, just gone wherever. But I think there's going to be parts of these timelines converging, and you're going to start seeing things from each of them kind of line up. Like, Zack and Cloud are going to meet at some point in this whole fucking thing. Like, it's inevitable. Like, they're building to that shit. It's going to happen. I just wonder if you're going to start seeing some, like, shit cross over. You're like, whoa, what's going on right here?
And to me, that's like the biggest thing to build up for. That's the thing like all Final Fantasy VII fans will be insanely hyped about, is that. Yes. So to me, that's not even like a game 2 sort of thing. That's end game.
That's final game. Like end of game. That's the final boss.
Exactly. I completely agree with you there. So I don't think you would squander sort of that situation.
Yeah.
I think you definitely would. That's the thing we're all hoping is going to happen. You save that shit for something super incredible.
Yeah,
man.
And it's like, I don't know, like if people haven't played Crisis Core, like they don't know that Zack like has a history with Sephiroth, so it's going to kind of make sense, like him being there and being a part of this.
Yeah. And also the reveal of like, you have to think of it from the perspective of people that have no idea like what's going on. Who is this guy? Like, why does this dude look like Cloud? All the same questions that we had back in 1997 when we were playing Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? No one thought that Zack looked like Cloud. I thought he was a fucking like a weirdo.
It's still a standalone game and does an okay job of like setting up things. We're going to learn those elements over time. Like we're going to learn who Zack's identity actually is. Like, what is his relationship to Cloud? Like, why do the characters act the way they do? And all that shit's still.
What are you talking about? We learn all who he is in Crisis Core.
Surprising story elements haven't been spoiled. In fact, they're like teasing at them in
you're just wrong again.
Remake.
No.
So to me, it's like, oh man, we're still gonna have our big flashback moment. We're still gonna have our big moment where there's a realization in Cloud's head. And
you think there's a whole different Zack that we don't know about that's just been hidden somehow behind all the material in Crisis Core? No.
Deep down the rabbit hole do you expect them to go? Because this DLC does drop a lot of breadcrumbs from later compilation games that revealed more about kind of the backstory of everything. I mean, he was only an optional super boss, but he had a lot of cutscenes in there. But Vice, obviously, in Deep Ground being a part of this stuff, and that gets into the whole, Project S, Project G, and like
I'm going to answer that. I don't think that they're going to go much into the vague stuff like that. Like, they don't want to delve too. It's going to stay like, if you know, you know. But it's never going to be like, oh, here's a whole Deep Ground section of the game, or now you're infiltrating Deep Ground for chapters, 5 through 8 or something. No, it's not going to do that.
At some parts of the game, then I could see more of that stuff kind of leaking in from his past.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like they're already setting up for the stuff that might be happening in Zach's side of the story. Because here's like the interesting thing: even if we sort of compliment,
let's see who's right. I bet that they're barely gonna do anything, and it's just gonna be like, if you know, you know, and that's it.
There, where everyone else is like one step ahead of Zach, and Zach has no idea like there's no like cell phone communication obviously between people at any given time. So Zach is just sort of one step behind, doing the exact same things as everybody else, but then moving forward on his own journey to possibly do the exact same thing and go kill Sephiroth. But his journey is going to be dramatically different than everybody else's, because his is going to be most likely filled with a lot of compilation elements. Characters that he might remember that worked at Shinra or fought against in Shinra, showing up in certain ways and complementing the story.
I wish that they did a lot more with Zach, but no, they didn't do shit.
Treading of classic Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, like there's gonna be something with Angeal or something showing up. Something like that.
Dude,
I really thought they were gonna have Angeal in it, but
they're gonna mention these things and talk about them, but I feel like they're gonna be handled in the same way that they handled Nero/Weiss, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I think they did a pretty good job at handling these characters and while avoiding the
it's if you know, you know
factory that is a lot of some elements of the compilation of Final Fantasy VII.
Let me ask you
it's going to continue to be if you know, you know, and extra material if you know.
It's going to be strictly reserved to cutscenes, or do you think he's going to actually be playable at some point?
I think he could be playable at some small parts.
I feel like it's weird if you,
based on what they did in Rebirth, they're gonna. I'm not thinking they're gonna do anything different other than Rebirth. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be you just, or I mean, past Rebirth. It's just gonna be you and the main party.
What I thought they were gonna do for the DLC for this game was Zack DLC. I thought we talked about this already. Yeah.
There's too much in the main game for them to do that.
Yeah.
There's too much in the main game. There's not enough room for everyone.
The thing is, the more they show of Zack,
I mean, there is enough room if they made all into one game like they're supposed to, but all the extra shit they're adding, no.
Once we see a significant Zack portion, we will know definitively. Okay, he's not in this timeline. He's in a it'll be clear. Or are they gonna try and keep that mystery going for as long as possible?
They're gonna keep that mystery going.
Then how much can they really show without spoiling that? I feel like they got to be careful with that then.
Yeah, I think part 2, that is going to be the bigger answer that everybody wants. So by the time we like switch to Zack or get an idea of what is happening with Zack, is there going to be a clear and concise answer that he is alive on the same plane of existence?
Nope, they didn't give any clear or concise answers on anything. It's typical Nomura shit. It might not be him that's writing the story, but it's Nomura shit.
Same place at the exact same time.
They don't explain anything, and they just expect to figure it out later along the way. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't, and they don't have to explain it.
And that's where like
it's like the mystery is just the fun of it, and then there's no real rationale for it, which kind of sucks. It's like Lost again. Like if you ever watched Lost back in the day, it's J.J. Abrams.
They're just setting up for that shit.
But yeah, they don't end up. Basically, a lot of the things like there's these numbers that just don't make any sense, and they're like lucky numbers. This guy wins a lottery and stuff, and they don't really ever explain because it ends up showing these exact lottery numbers and showing on this hatch thing where you press a button that like stops it, or be for like an explosion and stuff. There's just a random polar bear that appears and stuff, and a lot of it doesn't pay off.
The live stream, it clearly is like omnipotent and omnipresent, so it's like it can be anywhere and anytime. So is that how this is? Like there's so many crazy things, but like I guess who's like pulling the strings behind the scenes for all this crap? Like is there even anyone doing this, or is like I'm waiting for like that smoking gun moment where it's like this was the action in whatever game they're gonna cite was like this caused the ripple effect, and that's why there's the plot ghosts are going around. I'm like waiting for that. Like
I think the big thing to turn to, which is sort of like kind of a giant spoiler, is those really small stories that I think Nojima wrote about the post events of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, did he read them?
What is live stream existence? What is like spiritual existence beyond death? And what is happening to Aerith and Sephiroth? And it's those, I forget what the name of them are, but it's like Journey to a Smile or something like that. Like it's
On the Way to a
specifically
Smile.
talks about the existence of Sephiroth and the existence of Aerith post Final Fantasy VII and how they are coexisting in like ethereal form and how
Yes.
they're there to like sort of like butt heads with each other. And it very much reveals that Sephiroth discovers a way to coexist beyond death, and it's being
Yes.
attached to Cloud almost genetically, right? In the same way that's the whole point of Advent Children, is that Sephiroth exists because he just needs his mimetic legacy to live on.
Yep.
And his mimetic legacy is that in
Genova.
Mako, and like Mako Infusion and stuff like that. So
No, it's in Genova.
Forward is that Sephiroth is 100% the smoking gun of this scenario. I think the real like, oh, I found the gun on the floor.
Genova. Does he think a Cloud is just infused with Mako and not Genova? Is he stupid?
Does Sephiroth ever reference the fact that Cloud has killed him 3 times? Where it's like he killed him back in Final Fantasy VII originally, back in like in the past. This is big spoilers. He kills him at the
Oh
end
wow,
of Final
spoilers for the
Fantasy
original
VII,
game.
but he also kills him again in Advent Children. So now Cloud is like, Cloud is the perpetrator of all of this, and Sephiroth smoking the smoking gun for us personally is like, is Sephiroth aware that he is essentially lost to Cloud post Advent Children?
Right.
No, because it's nothing related to Advent Children.
Kind of feels
Dude,
like
it 100% seems like it to me. Like,
Nope.
really?
Nothing from Advent Children is related to this at all.
To freaking Genova or some crap. It's because like all these characters who are like the key characters either have one or two things in common. Genova cells are like they're derived from Genova, or ancient and derived from ancient. So like Aerith, ancients, Sephiroth, Genova, and it's like Cloud and Zack, they have Genova cells in them. So it's like, is this gonna come into play? And it's like, is that how Sephiroth can like transcend time? Like once he went to the live stream, like all the stuff you said, but like, was it really Cloud who was like the one who did all this by killing Sephiroth, and Sephiroth just doesn't know? He's caught in some like loop or something where he just never knows that like, hey, you lost, dude, you're always stuck. It's like,
dude,
it's so weird
the way Sephiroth is presented, like just in terms like creatively, like not even his intentions, but the way Sephiroth is presented in this game, he's designed for there to be like an awareness of him already. He's like absolutely in the game and shows up in ways that are completely weird and different and sort of contrived, where it's like, why is he here? This makes no sense.
Yeah, I said that earlier, I think, but
he's not supposed to be there.
that's part of the thing that I really hate about the remake is it doesn't make any sense to just throw Sephiroth in way before he's supposed to be there.
Us as players, that seems confusing and weird.
As a new player, if you're trying to play the game without playing original FF7, I feel for you.
Aerith seems to know. They know what's going on.
Man,
Once you approach it that way, you're like, oh god, it's a sequel, not a remake.
Exactly. And I'll be honest, it reeks.
It is a sequel, and if you haven't played the original, you're just not gonna understand anything, or a lot of the
Cosmos
Sephiroth
versus
shit.
Chaos storyline, where Will of the Planet is like Livestream Aerith represent Cosmos, Sephiroth Genova represents Chaos, and it's like these supernatural, godly powers are colliding here, and like this is how it's impacting our regular everyday characters like Cloud and Tifa and Barrett and them, and they're like, I guess my curiosity is like, they have such an interest in Cloud, like the end of like 7 remake, the whole scene at the end where it's just Cloud and Sephiroth, which looked like the final fight from the original game. It's like, why are we already here? Why is Sephiroth saying these specific things? Yeah, why are you? What is going on here, and why are you showing this specifically to Cloud? Like, what is so special about Cloud?
Why does Sephiroth say the most insane shit to him 7 seconds to the end? We have no idea what it means.
What are you talking about? What's going on?
Because he knows he's just fucking with him, and that's the whole point of even the original Final Fantasy VII. Yeah. Sephiroth is there just to fuck with Cloud, to get him to do things for him.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, yeah, he hates Cloud.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
Obviously.
I know. And it's also like Sephiroth is like he's a metaphor for the writers. I think is like what they're doing to fans. Because as you said, Max, they're acutely aware of what fans are expecting, what they're discussing, and I think they are absolutely playing off expectations.
Being the purists.
Exactly. They're absolutely playing off all of that. And I think so far they've been doing a very good job of it. But for me, I've always been, I need to see where they go with this to see if it was like the payoff was worth it. Because if they botch they botch part 2's story and part 3 and like it just drops the ball, it's like, oh man, that was suck.
Well, here's where I'm already pretty confident that.
What do you think the ball is exactly? Because I think they kind of
the end of intermission.
They kind of disappointed me a little bit.
A lot of us were thinking, man, 7 Remake Part 2 is going to start in the open world. We're leaving Midgar. We're just going to go on our little adventure. There's Calm in the distance. We're going to run over there. They specifically chose to cut that shit out and put it into a cutscene. Because what is the way more impactful element that Part 2 could sort of start with to be really captivating and really exciting?
Yeah.
You begin the game in the flashback.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh God!
In
And
the
that's
bus
like
or whatever.
I think
Well, yeah. How interesting is it to run to Calm?
The start screen is Sephiroth and Cloud and a couple of Shinra soldiers bouncing around in the back of a truck on a rainy, stormy night. And that's like, it's like press start to begin type of shit, you know?
Max, damn.
Like Metal Gear.
No.
Like opening scene, man.
Oh my god,
I want that so bad.
Sephiroth would be so cool too. If you get to use Sephiroth actually too in that fight.
And isn't that
Yes, and you do.
Man, you can play as like, or you know what Sephiroth fits?
His moveset sucks though.
Fits perfectly as the
boring
character.
Yeah.
You can't
Just give me a
play
few
him.
commands.
Nobody controls Sephiroth.
Oh, fighting that dragon
Wrong.
in the beginning, like where like Sephiroth decimates it with like that.
Yeah.
Even if
you're allowed, then the game will teach you party mechanics that you're going to be utilizing the same way that.
Why does he act like everything is a fact, dude? Just say stuff that you think's gonna happen.
That you can sort of like throw commands to.
Yeah.
You can't play as him, but he assists you. You know.
I think that'd be good.
It'd be funny if you could give him commands and he just doesn't do them. He's just like, no, I'll just do whatever
He
I
doesn't
want.
even reply. Just like it's like ellipsis.
Yeah.
Just,
Silly.
Doesn't acknowledge you. I mean, I think you're right.
We're just getting silly now.
Flashback would be the best place after what they've done. Even if it's not the title screen makes you acutely aware that like, oh, you're gonna hit start. We're gonna go into this. I think it'd be just great to like cold open into something like you're not sure, and then like eventually you're like, oh, I'm in the flashback right now.
Cold
like,
open
we're
into
playing
Zack, maybe.
They're like, I'd rather it start like that. You play through it, and then we catch up to the present.
Well, it's
where
actually
like
warm open
Cloud,
into Zack.
like, telling
And
the
just
story.
think of that from like a marketing perspective. Think of the first trailer, where it's like that Shinra theme, that dun 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 dun. You get these images of Sephiroth and Cloud like working together, and they're hanging out with each other, and they're in Nibelheim, and the fire, and all this like crazy shit, and like that is where you promote your next game with this big mystery of like what is going on, and then it's the flashback, right? Like that's, to me, that's like, well, this is just the coolest fucking thing you guys could possibly do, isn't
so
it?
exciting.
I mean, there already were teases of it. You know they have it ready because you know we've seen some cutscene images of that sequence. It's like, yeah, it's. I think it's prime to go. I think you're right. It's my question is how much did they divulge? Do they only divulge what we already knew in OG7's flashback? Like it's literally just 1-to-1 like information wise, though they might flesh out some scenes. Or will they reveal some new stuff in there potentially? Because this game is these part 1, and I expect the future parts are about everything's not quite the same. It seems the same, but there are things that are different here and there. That's enough to tip you off that we've been going in a slight, because this is a sequel, as you said. This is not remake as in 1-to-1. This is a sequel game that's taking place in the events of Final Fantasy VII, but in a slightly different timeline.
Damiani, are you referring to the fact that when Cloud and Sephiroth and those characters are sitting inside that reactor at the top of Nibelheim, are you telling me that Genesis is going to be sitting in the side eating a friggin' dumb apple and talking to him?
If only they did that.
Like
That would have been. I would have
maybe
loved that,
the thing
but
was
too
Cloud
bad.
Didn't remember a lot of his stuff. Like it
would be nice if they added shit like that.
Like blank spots. One of the blank spots we don't hear about, I think, forever in that game, if at all, unless it's optional. I forget where you learn about it. Is because I think it's Hojo who tells you Cloud and Zack being captured after that. The Shinra captures them after that scene where the showdown with Sephiroth, and they're put in the Shinra mansion and they're held there together. Like, will they even tip their hand at that or have to that? Or I think no. I think no.
That's part of the Zack reveal, right? You have to save that.
Yeah.
That's something that will be revealed over time through Zack's story, potentially.
So my question to you, Max and Brad, is this: Cloud's character, I mean, they can do whatever they want at this point, but he seems way more composed. He doesn't come off the same as the original game and where he is in the personality-wise. Like, the whole thing about when he's in the presence of Sephiroth, it messes with him, but, like, he hasn't shown any signs of confusion. He's not, like, a downer. He's actually pretty happy and optimistic.
Oh,
are they gonna go
the end of intermission?
Are they gonna go for that angle again, where the flashback, it's like he doesn't really know who he is? Do you think they're gonna lean that hard into it, or do you think maybe that is gonna be the twist where it's like, oh wait, he's remembering it perfectly? Why is he remembering it perfectly? He's supposed to be confused.
Think he'll remember it perfectly.
Yeah.
I think he'll remember how he did in the original game, where it's not necessarily.
It was
accurate.
slightly different.
I mean,
yeah, Brad's right, of course.
Cloud's definitely gonna have.
Brad's got more
vision
handle on
even
things
more
than anyone
as
else.
These games go on, just more and more Sephiroth will be popping up. Like, he had a few instances that were new, like the beginning after the reactor in the game with the Sephiroth and the fire. But I don't think they'll be like. I don't think like fucking Genesis is gonna be there chilling. And he's gonna be like, oh, I don't remember who that guy was.
I don't think that
right
either.
now.
I'm just curious.
I had the same conversation with my chat room about this a little earlier, where Cloud at the end of intermission, when you're seeing all those cutscenes of them essentially between Midgar and like their first destination on the actual world map when they're going to Com, Cloud seems like very composed and kind of normal and sort of friendly, like, you know, a lot different than the Cloud that is throughout most of Final Fantasy VII. So it was my, like, this seems like sort of like they're trying to emulate this very happy moment with the characters that are going to lead them into an uncertain future. I don't think this is going to be the way Cloud acts going forward.
Wrong.
And there's a big difference. That's a CG cutscene, right? Big CG cinematic that is probably localized in a very few ways.
Why would you think that's CG? Like, barely anything in the game is CG, and you think that's gonna be CG?
In the localized version of himself in the main game, and then you see him in CG cutscenes, and he can kind of act a bit not the same. There's like a pretty comparison between like Square's direction of these characters in like international versions. Like, they just all act this way because these big expensive CG cutscenes, they have to mouth certain things in certain times. But when it comes to like the localized way these characters will be, I think that's the way we're going to see them in part 2, is mostly going to be that. Because even you guys would agree, like, I would question if you guys agree that a lot of the CG scenes of the characters, like the big expensive CG cinematics, characters don't always act the exact same they do in the whole game.
Sure,
like, they feel a little different. They look
like
a little different.
That's just a weird theory. I'm not sure why you would say that.
Character moments are more
why would you think that's going to be just different?
Exactly.
It's more about the spectacle
No.
going around.
That's a weird thing to say.
I personally feel that that's not going to be really
Max.
representative of what's going to be happening going forward, like just the CG cinematics. I think we're going to get our characters acting fairly similar to the way they've acted, where they're really snarky and they have great lines. And
No, because he's mimicking Zack. Why would he do that? Like, do you not realize that?
Not everyone can just be friends.
That's ridiculous.
Do you not realize that that's why Cloud is the way he is? Because he's mimicking how Zack was?
Barrett's going to be pissed a lot of this next game.
Yeah,
so we're gonna get that.
Everyone's super happy right now, but there needs to be something that, like, the party just can't be all like jolly. Let's get on a chicken and avoid this snake. You know, like, there's gonna have to be some pretty crazy stuff that puts our characters at a moment of contention, where there's an uncertain future at the end of all of this, and that's like what the first game is setting up for, is an uncertain future.
Talking about, wasn't sure if Tifa was going to be involved in the build and stuff.
I just want to see these characters talk to each other. You know, I want to see these characters like engage and talk to each other and have shit to say to each other that like makes them question stuff and gives them more character. You know?
Yeah. I was always thinking that the identity issue with Cloud, whether they would play it a little bit more reserved in Remake, because it was like. But if they do, my other thing I was thinking about is that Sephiroth's going to reappear sooner and fuck with him sooner, basically. And I think a great way to do it wouldn't necessarily be like causing him to have
did it in
like
Remake.
What actually happened, because this is the all-knowing Sephiroth who knows things he shouldn't know. It's like, what if you start showing him visions from like the other timeline, or you know, like, or showing him visions of Zack?
That could be what's happening with Aerith in Rebirth at the end.
Sure.
Like,
and that
could
already
be
happens in 7 Remake.
Yeah.
Cloud gets visions of the future of stuff that is going to happen, and he has no idea what he's looking at.
I
And
think
it's like affecting him.
I think it would
So,
be great to do that. To play
that's
off
brilliant.
Play off multiple timelines, like showing him both. Like when he thinks, oh, like this time around, like, oh, they're setting up so Cloud's gonna figure that out the sooner. And Sephiroth shows up, shows him a vision that's like of a different timeline, and he's like, wait, what the hell? I thought I knew this, now I don't. And it's like both for the player's perspective, because we were saying they'll probably keep that Zack thing a mystery. I wonder if they're gonna keep you guessing with Cloud as well about his backstory, like. Wait, is something slightly different? You know, like is things altered because they have altered things? It's like I'd love it if Sephiroth is just that. He is the unexpected, the unknown, messing with both you narratively and the player expectation-wise. Would be amazing.
If you also approach this from like the perspective of the developers, the perspective of Nojima, like the scenario writer and the director, and how they'd want to approach these games going forward, you think they're kind of aware that 7 Remake's storytelling is as captivating as it is because of the unreliable narrator, right? That's like the thing, that's one of the biggest hooks of the game, is that you're led to believe something this whole time, and until you get to a certain point, you find that all that shit isn't real, and that what you are is now a big mystery. So to me, like, why would they get rid of that? Like, does it not seem like that stuff is still super like present now more than ever? That they're gonna possibly amplify that way more because Zack is now alive somewhere. So how are they going to utilize those things to make it even worse, or I'm sorry, even more impactful for our characters? And to me, like from a developer standpoint, that's just like, oh, this is gonna be good. Like that's like they get excited about making the game.
Yeah, that makes me think of like if they'll do some even more crazy shit in like the Temple of the Ancients. And maybe like some talking about like tying in timeline or something like that, even into that kind of stuff. Like even just diving in more to the ancients, like their whole mystery and their powers with the earth. I don't know. Leaves a lot of room open for even more stuff.
And they already do a lot of the in the base game, not the DLC. Cloud still has his moments of, you know, character crisis where he's sitting like in a big white background with just himself and another version of himself talking to himself, you know?
Yep.
Like a lot of those things still happen. In fact, he has more character crisis moments where he gets like crazy visions of Sephiroth now that either might or might not be there. And clearly they're not there because everyone around him is acting like he's insane. And Cloud just absolutely brushes it off and keeps going forward, you know? Like, well, that's not normal, but we'll just keep going, I guess. Like, eventually this is going to...
That happens in Rebirth, too, where they're just like, okay, well, anyway.
Yeah, like, I think the next game is going to be a lot of him getting visions of Aerith's death, like, the whole game. And maybe he'll kind of understand that she's going to die at some point, and he tries to interfere with them, and that could cause...
Like how Brad said, I think, before something that was completely false, but it's still... perceived as a thought.
So that could open up a whole other thing for conflict, or Sephiroth coming in to fuck with them.
Brad gets it. Brad gets the intention of the developers, where it's like, how do we make everyone's heart break all over again if they know it's going to happen?
Exactly. Oh, because you know the intention of the developers, right? Because you made the game. No, you didn't make the game, so shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry, Vader is my father type of situation of video games, right? So how do they go into this? You have to give the players a feeling that you're going to be able to save her.
Yep.
But you can't.
Like, there'll be some moments where you'll actually be able to change something that you thought you wouldn't be able to. Maybe, like, if it's just a small moment, even that. And maybe Cloud will get that confidence that he can do it. And so when he fails, it becomes even more devastating to him compared to even the original.
I think it's just annoying what they did in Rebirth, where it's just like, did he save her? No, it's just annoying.
A Final Fantasy VII continues. The beating heart of this game's story is that all the characters in 7 already like deal with like a big part of the character evolution of 7 and the character arcs is that every character deals with loss, like the loss of what happened to their country, the loss of what happened to their loved ones, the loss of what happened to their family. Like every character in 7 deals with loss in some way. And then what happens in Final Fantasy VII? You literally lose a main character.
Yep.
There's no way because they're already doing that.
Because it is showing the theme of life, like they were showing from that interview.
Her father and her family and her country. And
to show how precious life is.
Friend that, like, they're already setting up for all of this shit. And I don't think that they're setting up for it for no reason.
because we still have that whole thing with Jesse and Wedge, where why is one of them alive and implying why is it implying that she's also maybe alive, and like what they were supposed like. Max, though, I will concede, though, how they're doing it is they die somehow. They die a different way. It's like we're still gonna do it.
Unfortunately, they're already dead, and we just didn't realize it. I'm really sad about that thread.
Not in the same spot and way she died in 7. I'm expecting it to happen. You're gonna think you got past it. You're gonna be like, oh god, please get back to this part. Please let her be alive. We did it. She's alive. We did it. We're going. And then like an hour later, like, oh fuck, she's dead. What the fuck's
an hour later, like
that is basically what happened.
Right. And who after what we have seen and knowing the ending of the original game, right? Not the old game, but like 7 Remake, and now seeing how the way things are being approached, where Zach's like hanging out in Midgar and stuff like that. Who is to say that Zach being at the church and witnessing like all these people and Aerith being gone isn't the same reality of Biggs waking up?
I mean, that's totally possible.
There you go.
I mean,
you actually were correct on that.
The answers, and he's like, dang, I'm alive. Like, what the heck happened?
I mean, it is the original Biggs,
like,
though.
Jesse's, on his nightstand, he has like Jesse's like headdress thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say that's the reality where Biggs survived whatever the hell happened, and
Jesse's
Zach
gloves, yeah.
too. Like, that's the stuff that they're setting up, because at the end of the previous game, you see like conflicting scenarios, right? We see like Zach's alive and his timeline carrying Cloud. Our characters are out doing their thing. Suddenly, like several I don't know how much time has passed, but we get a vision of Biggs waking up. Like, how is this happening in relevance of what's happening now? Like, a lot of shit just took place in between that plate falling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's just because it's sandwiched between
like a weird
the recovery thing there, like the
exactly.
Sector 7
There's already like a
peoples.
weird conflict here, and we see that conflict again at the end of intermission, where our main characters are out doing something, and now Zach's back in town, like hanging out. Like, where do they exist, and at what point with each other? And that's where the developers don't want to. We don't want to reveal. We don't want to tell you exactly what's going on. We don't want you to know how they're alive. We don't want you to know how Biggs is alive until there's like a big revelatory moment. That's what all of us are like as Final Fantasy VII fans. Like, I don't think regular people that just jumped into this game are like, yo, what's happening? I don't know what's that. I think FF7
they definitely are
desperately clamoring for any information of like, how the fuck is Zach alive? Where is Zach alive? Where is Cloud in Zach's timeline? They both have the sword, guys. Like, they're waiting.
Do have the sword? Yeah,
they're waiting. They're just waiting. I think they have a huge plan for this shit, and I think the way they're setting it up makes me think that they're gonna set up for some really cool shit with it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not true.
They're gonna pull Metal Gear Solid 2. You're gonna play as Zach most of the game, and
man, that would have been something if they did that.
Do a bait and switch with everybody, and then everyone's gonna complain that Cloud is dead, and I'll be the new controversy for the next 20-25 years.
That's crazy.
Cloud, what the hell? No, they're not gonna do that.
That's crazy.
I was just trolling right there. I don't think any of that's gonna happen. My question though is, Max, you're saying like fans, the veterans, are like clamoring for any new information. We just got this. What, how long do you think we're gonna wait to see something about part 2? And also, how much are they gonna be able to show without like giving away? Like, I think they get into this dangerous territory now where they have to be very selective about what they show. I mean, I think they can absolutely do it, but like, do they go as hard anymore on part 2, like the marketing blitz? Because do they need to?
I think they do, because as we explained, where's the next game initially setting up? What is the next game initially like presenting as far as like a marketing perspective in terms of like initial reveal? Flashback stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Flashback stuff is perfect for the sake of marketing.
In the fire, the village burning. It's like that Prince money right there. That's what everyone wants.
That's just the
literal
trailer.
like Nintendo DS Prince money type situation where everyone's just super anxious. So they can ride that for a long time leading up, and then they can finally get into the points of like the open world. But they can be super coy about the open world and show like crazy foggy dank marshes and you fighting like a huge snake that's hunting your ass and stuff. Like, man, that stuff's gonna be great. And you don't have to show anything about Zach, right? You can show completely separate stuff about what's going on with Zach and all of those elements. I mean, if we're talking about actual like release windows and how long this stuff is going to take, 7 Remake original is notorious for its like arguably very long development, but we learned later on that that's because the team that was initially making it 2 years in the running had to get scrapped. Like they had to, it wasn't high quality enough, and Squared was just like, you know what, forget it. This is too big and too important. We're just doing this internal. So really, like, from a development standpoint and Square taking it over, they made 7 Remake in about 2.5 years. So that's pretty decent, right? A lot of turmoil happened in between all of that stuff, like from its first reveal. But you'd have to assume they've been working with this engine and this game and have made all these assets already and all these animations and a lot of stuff that absolutely can be reused and tuned for next generation, you know, or whatnot. And we've seen that. We just played it. Like, Intermission feels like a truly like next gen game, and it plays better. Like, it feels a more polished version of 7 Remake. So in my eyes, like, the most confident scenario, and this is me like hoping with Nomura here that what he's saying is actually true, where he's like, yeah, development's going great. We started development back in like October of 2019 for part 2, and that's when they first said that they're working on it. So it's been some time. I think the best case scenario, the earliest you're going to see this game is E3 next year. Very earliest is that the reveal of it is E3 of 2023. That's like a first teaser, but then it won't come out until 2022, and then it won't come out until 2023. That's like the super earliest.
That's what I was thinking it'd be, probably. And I think that's pretty reasonable amount of time.
But that really depends on how well development goes. They've been saying it's going great. A lot of the times Dev says stuff is going great, but they clearly had moments during 7 Remake's development where they're like, shit is not going well, and we are doing things differently and moving the project in different directions, kind of stuff. Like, so there was some bleak years in 2016.
And it was 2024, so.
Nomura recently said he wanted to tease something for it. It was for like some event. He wanted to like tease something for part 2.
When it comes to games, always think it's gonna be out later than you think.
Go through so many hoops and call so many people he didn't even know about. He just was like, I'm just not gonna do this right now.
Just keep your expectations in check.
If he's even talking in like that kind of way, they must be pretty confident how it's going right now.
Yeah.
So
and the other challenge is that Square's got a couple of big high-profile games that we even know about, and it's Forspoken and, I mean, internal Square, not like Square in general, like the Final Fantasy teams. They got Forspoken and Final Fantasy 16. So those games need their room to breathe as well, right? They need their room to be games and not conflict with like other games. So unless those mystically come out, you know, between this year and the beginning of 2022, if FF16 is somehow development is going amazing and that game is just going to be ready to go relatively soon, there has to be some wiggle room before you announcing a whole other Final Fantasy of games that technically will be competing with each other. So to me, it's like, I think the game you should be really paying attention to as far as like, where is 7 Remake Part 2 is when's Final Fantasy 16 coming out? Like, once that's out, and that's been out for some time, I think that there might be a good chance that a 7 Remake Part 2 reveal is going to be maybe sometime after that, or maybe a little bit after that.
To me, that makes logical sense. I don't doubt that could be the case.
Being done by different teams, so I don't even know why that would even be in the realm of anything.
7 Remake Part
But
2's
anyway, yeah, this is all in the past, so it doesn't matter.
You want to call it, isn't so attached to the hip to 16's fate about its release window. I feel like the games are 16's obviously important. Obviously, so is Forspoken. I think 7's already a known quantity. It's already out there. I think talking about and getting people excited for part 2 is not going to take away anything from 16 or Forspoken. I do agree with you that the release window, it's the release windows that need to be spit out.
Better than this, because like I am very disconnected Final Fantasy fan, right? Like I played 15, but I really am not like hugely attached to everything about what's happening with 14 and like all the other properties and stuff. I have killed Chaos though. That's very important.
Yeah. That fight fucking was annoying. But you played it on hard, I heard. I did it on normal.
I think that was a game that was also like, oh, is this game going
Still have to play that one.
I mean, I think after playing Final Fantasy Origin, I don't think anyone's worried about that taking up the limelight of other games. It's like, the first thing I said at the end of that game was like, this needs to be delayed till 2024. That was like the first thing I said. I'm like, there's a lot of really good ideas, but man, give it some time. So I do appreciate your insight, Mike, on that, because you're really attuned with like the RPG scape of Square and what has actually happened with Kingdom Hearts and like their huge scope, right, of where they're going to be going with this stuff. And if you don't think that 16 or Forspoken is going to take like limelight, or 7 is going to take limelight from them, and they're pretty separate properties, then I think that's pretty valuable.
In terms of like marketing stuff and trailers and unveilings, I don't think that's going to they're not going to be stepping on each other's toes. It's straight up just as simple as release windows. Give each of them about 2-3 months spaced out. But I honestly think Forspoken and 16 will be out a decent amount of time before 7 Remake Part 2's, whatever its release date is. It could be as much as a year difference between those two, I would guess. It's
so what you're saying is that the next time we gather in person at E3 at Square Enix's booth, we might be behind the scenes
Rip E3
chatting it up with the director, if not producer, and them showing us a little visual treat of what Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is.
Yeah, you and Brad might be doing that at E3
happen,
next year.
Oh my god!
They might give
that
you
was our last E3.
They might give you that.
That was the last live E3 we did that.
The open world demo. Yeah, they're gonna show you behind closed doors. Like here's
the reunion.
Here's the open world, man, and we're gonna let you dive in for an hour, just hour hands on with this, while everyone else is playing the flashback demo. You guys get the open world demo.
Again, describing this stuff to people.
Yeah, you fight the giant snake. It's like, here you go, have fun, and it's like a mounted chocobo fight where you're running around.
Some Elden Ring
crazy,
shit.
yeah, some Elden Ring. Yeah. Oh man, that would be sorry, I'm
all right, relax.
Talk about Elden Ring, we can go forever, but to bring it back to the point, I think you hit the nail on the head that like release window, it's like it's 2023 or beyond, just because if we think open world is legitimate, it's even with reusing assets and having this first game in their belt, that's a whole different beast now. That's going to take a little bit more time. I mean, look at we don't know how COVID has impacted everyone, but even like the Breath of the Wild sequel, it's like supposed to be like it's same Hyrule, and now it's in the sky. It's like, why is that taking so long? And that's been like almost, it could be like it said 2022 at the earliest. That's 5 years after it came out. It's like, wow, like open world takes some time to make. Like Horizon sequel, if it makes its release date this year, that's what 4 years after, with all that Sony money and that Sony skill and knowledge and those talented teams. It takes a lot of work to make these games happen when they're open world. So I think it's reasonable.
You'd have to assume that even like Nomura and lead developers and the producers of 7 Remake Part 2 are already aware that we messed this up because it took so long for this thing to come out. And I think that's why they've been even directly addressing the issues in interviews where they're talking about Part 2, saying that things are going great. Like it's working pretty well. We already have stuff figured out. Like does anyone remember back in like 2016, like a year after we saw the game's initial reveal, they told us that they had just finished the scenario.
Yep.
Yes.
And it was
I do remember that.
What?
You were like,
wait, you just figured out what's going to be happening in your game?
It was like
what?
The Lord of the Rings, the Ents talking to each other. We've just finished agreeing that you're like not goblins or whatever.
But like we've seen the game, bro. Like what are we even talking about? Like, and that was like giant moments of like there wasn't, that's not like a bad piece of information or news, but to anyone that like understands the industry, that's like wait, you've done what? Like you're just starting that? Like, okay, so when's the game actually coming like gonna be actually coming out? And they haven't been, either they're being super coy about it, or you take their word for it and shit is going well. And they have figured out a lot of lessons. And considering we have something that we have just played that gives us an example of like how much they have learned from the previous game and how quickly they pumped it out. That DLC was like 6 to 8 hours, man.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big chunk of game. You could rush through it on your first playthrough and make it like 4 or 5, but if you do all the cutscenes and do all like the mini quests and stuff like that, it's a good 6 to 8 hours of content. I was kind of blown away that we're still going, and a lot of boss fights and all this cool shit. I'm like, they're getting pretty good at this.
Yeah.
Like and making it feel like it's on the same quality, if not even more polished than the main game itself. I don't know. I'm gonna take their word for it. I'm a hopeful kind of guy that I think I think they deserve a lot of confidence with what they were able to present in the main game and the DLC, that the stuff that they're going to be pumping out is probably not like a 2030 kind of situation. I hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the future. But yes, like I think I think we're within like a couple of years of playing the next game, and possibly a year of even seeing it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard for me not to agree with their track record recently, at least like the Japanese side of stuff. So
yeah. Not
I feel
like
pretty confident about it.
man. I want to keep talking about Final Fantasy. I know we didn't even say anything about this. And it's not even story related. I was just blown away by you mentioned something about it, Max. The Cowboy Bebop sounding music, like during the
it's great.
Yuffie running around stuff. Like they keep impressing me with the soundtrack. So like I want part 2, not just like all this other stuff that's going on.
Soundtrack's fucking amazing.
And get to play around with and stuff. Like I hope we meet like I hope we go far enough that we like meet Sid. I want to hear their crazy take on Sid's theme. I want to hear that Gold Saucer music. Yeah, I mean, there's so many themes that are coming up. I'm like, dude, let's go. I want to hear all this crazy.
That presents a great question that, like...
The thing is, yeah, they've already used kind of all the music now, pretty much, except for even Wutai. Like, all the music in Rebirth now pretty much exists already. That they've covered pretty much every variation, or different variations on the starter themes of all of the original tracks.
What do you think, Mike?
They remixed them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it's only going to be 3 parts, I think they have to go that far.
Yeah.
I think they get there. Yeah.
I think like if this game truly like is going to be a trilogy, which it feels like it should be, right? Everything about this is screaming like first game is like sort of corridor based, like cramped city kind of thing. Next game is open, complete polar opposite of that, like world gazing, visiting, traveling, like kind of thing. And then the final game is the revisiting of a changed world, like we're going to go back to the places that we remember, but now there's like destruction and devastation, and places might be acting a lot different because Doomsday is coming, you know? So to me, it's like part 2 is The Empire Strikes Back. Like there has to be something really critical and crazy that brings our characters to their absolute lowest low. And the game has to end on like those lowest lows, but with a little bit of hope that like we're going to make it out of this shit. We're going to do it. And to me, like the sickest moment that they could do that is a lot farther than I think that they're going to make. It's what I would personally hope, but in terms of development, I don't think they're going to make it this far. And it's after the crater. I think we got to get our characters up to the crater. Cloud is gone. He's working with Sephiroth now, right? He gave him the damn black materia. And all these things are sort of colliding to the fact that our characters are lost and hopeless and separated, and Tifa and Barrett are about to be executed live on TV. And then they look outside the window, and everybody's going to die because Meteor's coming. To me, that's like the Empire Strikes Back ending of... then you have to tease something that, like, Cloud's still out there. Aerith is somehow present.
I agree. It would have been much cooler to do the actual, like...
You have to put our characters at the bleakest moment.
It was a Disc 2
That is right
ending?
when they leave the Northern Crater, and Tifa and Barrett are gonna get executed, and they learn that, oh god, Sephiroth managed to summon Meteor. Like,
yeah, and then they wake up in the operating room or whatever, the hospital room, and then the Meteor's out there all of a sudden.
Is Cloud? It's like fight Cloud, and he beats your ass or something.
Yeah, some like Dark Link sort of thing.
Yeah.
To me, like that.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, like that even.
I mean, you probably have to fight Cloud, but not. I don't know.
Like final battle sort of thing, where it's like they just amp up the Sephiroth battles in every single one of these games to like.
I don't think it'll be like
or some shit, you know. And then
a huge fight or something.
Part 3 is like a globe-trotting adventure, right? Where you get
maybe like a quick time event or something.
Airship. You get an airship, and that's how you start the third game. It's like, holy shit! And then we gotta go hunt kaijus. Let's go. Where's Cloud? We're gonna find that dickhead. Like, to me, like 3 parts have made sense since this game was revealed back in 2015, and I'm genuinely curious where they're going to end part 2, because that'll have a big impact on how this will be considered as a trilogy.
Yeah, it just depends on how much they're gonna throw at us from like the new content, what they're doing with this new timeline, like how, because as you said, Max, I could see it actually ending part 2 ending when you said they did, because then only everything in part 3 what you thought would be in part 3, but they have all this new shit they got to cram into part 3 now as well. So it's gonna make it take like there's like we need to go this far. If we don't get this far, we're gonna have to make a part 4 because we got so much shit left, you know, to cram in this final part you don't even know about yet. So I could see it going that far, honestly. And then they got new stuff just on top of the stuff. But no matter what though, we're not fighting the weapons till part 3 though. I just realized, like, dang it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say
Big weapon fights. That's gonna be a huge part of part 3.
Yeah.
Big weapon fights and also making Knights of the Round part of the main game and not a side quest.
If they don't whatever,
Yeah, that'll be cool if they do that. It'll probably just be a stupid
PS5 Pro,
summon thing like how they did with
PS5 Pro
I think it won't be even be a side
using
quest. It'll be
what is it?
just like the
Fidelity
Chadley fucking
mode,
get
Knights
summons
of the
shit.
Round 60 frames mode. Where that cutscene will run in 60 frames. I want it to make you chug.
It's gonna be exactly like the other summons. They're not gonna make a big deal about it. They're not gonna have a stupid side quest for it. No, they will not.
Like, the quest for this like ancient Earth, Gaia materia, like has been like gathering in the Earth and unexplored, and then you have to go find.
I don't know if they will do even
chocobo
chocobo breeding. I'm not sure if they will.
You don't think Knights of the Round isn't going to be a part of like the main story?
No.
They're going to build that shit. This is what the ancients used to fight.
No, they won't.
Like evil spirits and shit. Like this stuff comes from like old. Like,
You're fucking stupid if you think that. Holy shit, you're dumb. No.
No. Maybe like a hard version of it, but the real, like the default version, that's story, main story quest. Let's go.
No, it's not.
It's like
Come on.
The Marlboro is
Brad's just quiet because he knows that what they're saying is ridiculous.
Like, clearly, we're gonna run into a Marlboro or two when we go fight the snake.
World,
you know?
Yeah.
What? No.
I'm really excited for the parade in the next part. I can't wait for that.
I like how Brad's the most grounded and actually smart.
Your shitty TV ratings.
Yeah.
Oh man, because I mean, the Honeybee Inn was a whole dance sequence with like rhythm game. Like, how? Yeah, what are they gonna do for that parade?
Yeah, is Roche gonna be like the guy instructing you what to do on TV or something like that?
Oh man.
Oh, we had a great conversation of hopes for the next game of like they made the Hell House and the chariot boss or the chariot enemy, like the big enemies that turn into like giant boss fights now, right? And they even did one for one of the weird Shinra monsters, like the big snake thing got turned into a boss as well. Our question's like, so what's the next enemy that's going to be turned into like a giant boss in part 2? And everyone was like, Tank Ceratops. That Triceratops tank thing in Gongaga is 100% going to be this huge boss fight.
Yes.
That's
No.
Well, I'm sufficiently
100% stupid.
Excited, but like, man.
Oh yeah.
This has always been my problem. Is like when they said it was multi-part, is just the wait, man. It's like I'm glad they did this. I'm glad they did intermission and
I wish they did a DLC for Rebirth
say, like,
too.
It's not gonna be 2023. You know what? Come out next year with Zack DLC or something. Like I'll take something next year that's just DLC.
That would have been cool if they did that. Yeah, I would take anything.
These smaller kind of like intermittent updates, I think, are actually good ideas to do if they want to space it out like this.
But hey, we're about to get, a ton of Final Fantasy VII games remade in the way that everyone wanted them to be remade pretty soon.
Mobile, baby. Hell yeah.
All those games are literally being remade in the way that a lot of people wanted them to actually be, like one-for-one new visual remakes. It's like, curious how that's going to be, but yeah, I agree, like the waiting sucks. But at the same time, it's like, I think it's better that we're here and not even thinking about it. Imagine a situation where 7 Remake was just like a visual remake, kind of, and we knew exactly what was going to happen going forward. We wouldn't even really be having this conversation.
True.
Instead, they are giving you something to really wait for, right? We don't want to tell you shit. We want to tease you, and we want to hint and allure at what we're doing with our story, but also have you excited about the fact that there's going to be a lot of new stuff, the same way that Part 1 had a lot of new stuff. So to me, that's like an even better case scenario of just like, well, we beat it. Now we're just going to wait for part 2. All right, I'm not even going to look at my watch. We'll just wait for it to happen. Like now we're like super excited where it's like, holy shit, dude. People are still talking about this like ending and what the hell it means,
Hell yeah.
You're right. I did want to ask though, Max, can I get exclusive confirmation that you're going to become a First Soldier streamer? You go hard and competitive on First Soldier. I'm just joking.
Yeah, right.
Max,
I doubt he even looked at it.
Top First Soldier.
I definitely was willing to give that game a chance in that first trailer. I was like, you know what? If they want to do some crazy shit, I'll try it.
No.
And then I watched the first reveal stream of it, and people actually playing it, and I was like, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I'm good, man. You good luck, guys, to your Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale. I hope it goes swimmingly well.
Yep.
But after seeing the gameplay for that, I was like, step out of here.
Just scooting on over. Yeah, that was a little bit of a disappointment. But yeah, we still got I highly doubt any new info will be in any of these things. I mean, technically they've done shit like that before. Even with Kingdom Hearts, that mobile game, the ending to that they just shut down. Apparently, it's like a big deal. It's like that's my biggest fear because we used to do the 7.
Yeah, I did that mobile game.
Phone game before it became whatever it became. Before Crisis, the Turks and stuff.
Yep. That was a good one.
Wondered, it's JP only mobile game. Is that Crucial Story?
That's being remade now.
Yeah. So
it's not.
It
hasn't been remade.
I hope they do that if they don't. But
now they can turn Dirge of Cerberus into a good game.
Yeah, they can just do what they did.
You fucking idiot.
The DS Kingdom Hearts games. It's turned
it was a good game. It still is a good game.
Play it, just watch it.
I'm not
What are you talking about?
I don't have to play a lot of those shitty games.
Why do you think Dirge is bad? It's not.
I saw Brad playing it recently, and anything
it's bad,
different.
Man. It's bad.
It's not bad.
Really rough. Mike, when's the last time you've actually experienced the Dirge?
I tried to play it years ago. I've tried to play it at least 3 times now. Every time I've quit, about 2 hours or 3 hours is the most.
Why?
And I'm like,
okay.
Done.
It's good.
Arguably the worst stuff happens at the end.
I was gonna say, the longer that game went on, the more annoyed and angry I got.
Why?
And I'm not even telling you, and I'm not even saying anything bad about people that might like Dirge or got introduced to it, because you're allowed to like it. But I think
it's fucking good.
If you really enjoy the original Final Fantasy VII, I think Dirge sets up a lot of reasons for you to not like Final Fantasy VII anymore.
Why?
And I remember feeling that way when it first came out, and I forgot it. And then when I played it again, a year and a half ago, I got reminded of all these scenes and
you didn't play Dirge again
and character stuff, and I was just like, I think I erased this game from my memory. I think I like Final Fantasy VII actually less after playing this fucking game.
It hurts it.
I don't think so at all.
It's one of those games that genuinely a part of the compilation, when you think of
note something specific
compilation stuff, you really think of Dirge, you know? And you think of a little bit of first half of Crisis Core, a little bit of that. But second half of Crisis Core is genuinely good once Nibelheim.
A lot of Crisis Core is not good. A lot of Crisis Core is not good. All the Genesis stuff.
Definitely another character on the horizon we're going to learn a lot more about, and it's going to be Vincent.
Dirge is good.
Man, I can't wait.
It's good.
Yeah. We got. There has to be if they're doing this with Yuffie, Vince is even being more insane because he's more integral to actually, the mythology,
history.
Yeah, the history. Well, is there anything else we really haven't covered that you wanted to speak your mind about? Perhaps you want to talk about Aliens Fireteam Elite, Max? I'm just kidding. That's a joke. Don't do it.
Let's just make a Final Fantasy VII fighting game. Let's just do it. Let's make it made by Arc System
Works. Guys,
wanting that with all of Final Fantasy characters.
Yeah, let's just go get Arc System Works to put together a 2D/3D Final Fantasy fighting game full of all the fighting game characters. Let's get Tifa into the last character for Smash, because there's no other Final Fantasy franchises for them to pull characters from, just 7. So we have to get Tifa into Smash. Very important for that final spot. Well, 3 Final Fantasy VII characters is a perfect, nice little, not round, but very round number.
Yeah.
3 for 3 parts.
More music.
Yes.
That's it. And they even put in the description a little bit about a part 3 joke in there.
Yeah.
I know we don't know. This is not the spoiler mode of fighting game stuff.
Do you guys love it how it's in the lore now that Sephiroth follows Cloud around wherever he goes in every single game he's in, and he literally did it in Smash Brothers as well?
Yes, I do love
But-
it. As a Kingdom Hearts fan,
I like it.
This is relevant to
Sakurai
lore.
respects lore. I respect
Oh my
Sakurai
God.
so much more now. It had to be that way. Otherwise, Sakurai would have broken the link there. We'd all be blaming Sakurai for messing up that.
It's relevant to guys as well.
Oh, it
Oh my
is?
God, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, well, they put that as a mini game in one of the parts, part 2.
But Guys is a mini game? No.
No.
A fighting
Does not
game
play
mini
well.
game. Oh, yeah, all the mini games.
No.
Anything new in there? Yeah, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, part 2. Hopefully, maybe, as you
Someday.
said, maybe next E3 at the earliest. If not, it's cooking. I bet we hear about it before we see it next. I bet we get a decent
we get some
update
info,
where they'll
dribble.
they'll even tease probably hey, new info is coming soon, which is there we go. Start tuning in and what's the next big event? They're probably going to be showing off that first teaser trailer. But yeah, intermission and Intergrade. Just it was just nice even playing 7 Remake in 60 frames, better
Yep.
visuals, the slightly faster load
been
times.
great.
Just a taste
we
of
gotta
what
wait
we're
for
gonna
that.
get. Yeah.
Now we gotta wait for that PC version that has been
Yes.
talked about,
December,
kinda, and sort of
Epic
yeah.
not
Games.
revealed.
Yeah, December on Epic
Epic
Games.
Games one, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Kingdom Hearts is only an Epic Games Store also. So.
Yeah, I wonder how much better it could look on PC than the PS5 version. I'm curious.
You would think
It looks really
that
fucking good.
Yeah.
there would be some enhancements, to be had
Mhm.
for that version of the game, because they did do some stuff to Kingdom Hearts as well, right?
Not really, no.
I didn't
Actually.
touch it, so I have no idea.
In fact,
Yeah.
that was one of the criticisms about it being on Epic Game Stores, that people kind of forgot about it after the announcement. That it's such a big deal of a game. Why when they? I mean, it was a deal. They signed a deal,
Because
but
money.
it not being on Steam and other PC platforms and storefronts kind of hindered it a bit. Which is an interesting thing, because people are also saying just this being a PlayStation exclusive as of now it's on PS5. It's what if this was a big multi-platform release back last April? What is obviously would have sold more copies? Would it have been an even bigger event? Do you think that with their strategy so far, regardless of what the deal is, do you think it's still been very successful? Do you think it's reached its potential in terms of popularity, or do you think there actually is something to it being held back a little bit by not being a big multi-platform release?
I think it 100%.
Someone else other Matt answer. Oh, of course, Matt
If
answers.
it wasn't, locked to Sony
Matt,
hardware,
Max,
it
whatever.
would be definitely more successful, and I think they're going to reap a bit of that success when it eventually does start landing on Xbox and PC and things of that nature. But at the same time, Square had a financial report from 2020 pretty much almost explaining that Avengers almost tanked the fucking company, and they were saved by Final Fantasy 7. If 7 didn't come out in the same year as what happened with the release of Avengers, that might be in a much different scenario with Square Enix going forward.
Mhm.
So to me, that's dang, good thing 7 happened, because it got enough sales and warranted enough people to buy it to make up for the fact that there was the huge detriment to a big release that a lot of people were looking forward to that might not have hit on the same levels that everyone was thinking it was going to hit, So
Gotcha.
I don't know. I think it could be more successful,
Yeah.
obviously, and they're going to make more money. But they already revealed, it was literally, I think, said in their financial report, thanks to the success of established franchises like Final Fantasy VII Remake, our year is not screwed, financially,
Yeah, I mean, they did have I think in the end they did have a record year too, which also was bolstered by 7 Remake. So that definitely.
I don't think there's an issue of the game's not making enough money. Dude, 7 has been Square Enix's golden goose for
20 years.
2 decades.
Yeah, because I mean, you've even talked about the meme of the panic button joke of Square Enix about to go under. That's when 7 Remake's
7
actually
Remake,
happening.
just
It's
change everything.
Yep.
And and I had to explain this to people too. I'm do you really think that at the end of this trilogy / not trilogy, whatever the heck these remakes are going to be, you really think that they're going to be straight done with Final Fantasy VII and just let it? See you later.
Nope.
It just goes into the ether. You think they're gonna let go of Cloud and Tifa and all these characters and have them just have no games after this? I'm
no, Max.
Of course
Absolutely
not.
not.
Of course not. This story isn't gonna just end here. It's gonna be the big absolute finale. But these characters aren't going anywhere. Cloud is Mr. RPG. Like,
What are you talking about? You think they're gonna make more games?
yeah, like,
No.
We gotta get Advent
it'll be
Children
fine.
remake. They gotta redo
Yes.
that. They gotta
Oh,
redo that
please.
story now.
Please remake it.
Actually, that
I
just
have
came
a
out in
crazy
4K.
theory. You guys want to hear my crazy theory?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Let's
Here's my
go.
crazy theory. My crazy theory is that because of this timeline stuff and the fact that, you know, Sephiroth's been killed by Cloud multiple times, my crazy theory is that at some point in 7 Remake, with all this timeline stuff, you will get to actually play the scene from Advent Children where Cloud and Sephiroth are fighting each
Shut
other.
up.
Oh, really?
That there will be a moment where Sephiroth, like, you revisit the times that Cloud has killed Sephiroth.
No.
And you sort of relive these fucking moments of, like, pain where, you know, Cloud is, like, either in pain or Sephiroth is winning or something like that. It's, like, used against him. I think they'll fucking
No.
do it.
Yeah. That sounds.
They're not going to reference
very-
Advent
that sounds
Children.
like it could happen.
If they reference Advent Children, I'm going
Right.
to look at an idiot, like an
Yeah,
idiot
it
in
really
these
feels
videos.
like
But no.
the stuff that they're setting up, like, it's leading to a point where the history of Cloud and Sephiroth are really important, right? Where, like, the reason why things happened, what led him to his motivation, could be used as, like, a gameplay sequence.
Yeah.
Fuck.
As long as there's blood, it's a complete version where I see blood from Cloud, Sephiroth's
getting
Masamune
stabbed.
is piercing through him, and I get that despair line. I'm absolutely 100%.
You think he's not gonna talk about his pair again?
Yeah.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Now, does this mean we get the Kingdom Hearts fight as well? We're going back to the Kingdom Hearts fight.
No.
The most
Yes.
important question,
Brad, are we getting it?
because that's
No.
lore relevant too now. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes. I mean, I think it'll be amazing.
No.
It's going to look like Advent Children, but we're playing it in real time, and it's going to be like, holy shit, we are playing Advent Children.
And we kind of got something pretty damn close to
Yeah.
it with the final battle in part 1.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
pretty close to an Advent Children fight.
I mean, yeah, I think these are good ideas, Max, because they have to find a way to top that fight at some point. Even if the fight doesn't happen in part 2, we're expecting that ultimate showdown of some form with Cloud, Sephiroth, and you said possibly even Zack, you know, the team up we've been waiting for. How do you top, like, yeah, how insane do you have to beat that, and you have to beat the Advent Children fight? So it's like, what are you gonna do?
You have to sort of top, and guess what? They've already done a pretty good job at taking the things that we were not expecting them to top and doing a Hell House situation.
Yeah,
Or doing a
that's
Honeybee
true.
Inn situation. No one thought that they would be able to handle the Honeybee Inn in a tasteful way in 2020, and they destroyed it. They killed it.
Nah, they could have did a better job.
Yeah, did you read that?
Much
that
less like the
thing
boss fights and
about
stuff.
it?
So
You
They
read
could
that
have did a
article?
much better job.
I trust them. You know.
They did a decent
Did you
job.
see that article or video they put out about the behind the scenes of making the Honeybee
A
Inn?
little bit.
Yeah,
I didn't
that
watch the
was-
whole thing. No.
What?
I was asking if you're on which side of the fence you're on, to release the pole cut or not release the pole cut.
Oh, Cloud on a stripper pole.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Oh yeah, I saw that in the Ultimania.
I'm like, wow, that goes really far, really fast. I even thought they go really far with what, you know, they have Cloud do even in the Honeybee Inn existing.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? Like, I don't know if I
Fuck
wanted
it.
to see Cloud stripping. Like, some people definitely will. Would it have
Yeah.
amplified sales? Most likely. So you know what? I'm allowed. I think they should be allowed some creative freedom in these situations, and they showed that so far in the remake. And I hope they express that going forward. You know.
For sure.
Yep.
That's pretty much all I got, man. Anything else? Or I don't know. Sometimes
My brain hurts.
Yeah. I don't know if
Well,
Max could
We'll
drop
have
some
this conversation again when
Yeah.
there's more to have conversation about.
For sure. All right, man. Well, thanks for joining us, Max, once again for this this reunion. Hopefully, we have another reunion not too long from now, as you said when we got new information about this. But yeah, you have anything coming up that you want to like give a shout out to our audience to maybe check out or anything you're working on? I know you do those like Twitch rival stuff. I don't know if you have any of those coming up or anything like that.
Yeah, in general, we've been working a lot with Twitch on some official Twitch Rivals fighting game events of classic fighting games. And
Look at that
so we're
shit.
going back and putting them in the limelight. But as usual, I'm like 80% like a fighting game streamer and play a huge variety of fighting games and old fighting games and new ones. So Guilty Gear is really exciting right now, and a lot of people are loving it, and I am too. And Yeah, I definitely have some plans to tackle some games in the future. You know, a new Metroid coming out is pretty exciting, and I'm somebody that has never played Super Metroid. I played very little of it, so I'm looking forward to that being a first time streaming experience and having everyone scream at me. It's gonna be great. But yeah, like just in general, we have Video Games on the weekends. On YouTube, I'm Maximilian_dude. And I handle a lot of Final Fantasy VII Remake news. We got a playthrough going on that just finished, and yeah, I'm still going through the hard mode integrate playthrough. So just to check out all the visual differences and splendor and revisit all the story elements and how great the game looks now. So you can check that out at Twitch under the same name, Maximilian_dude.
Nice.
All right.
I heard a rumor you're also gonna play some game called Elden Ring at some point.
Who cares?
There's a little game called Elden Ring that at one point everyone thought was not real, and then suddenly became real. So yeah, I think everyone's kind of excited for Dark Souls 4.
Yeah, we need to get you and Brad together for that, man.
Yeah, for sure. Dark Souls 4.
Yeah, you ready to get big brain with me, Max?
Dude, let's go.
Bring the big brain shit?
Dude, let's go. I gotta find someone at Bandai Namco so that I can hopefully play this damn game before like January.
Thank you as well, Brad, for joining me.
My
chatting
pleasure.
about. Always a pleasure. But yeah, until next time, everybody, take it easy, and we'll see you again in Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. Later.
Part 3? You mean Part 2?
Spoiler mode. Final warning. Spoiler mode activated.
Oh no. How is there more? They did a lot of freaking content with him. Holy shit, they did a big brain rebirth series with him too. That's a lot of bullshit. Do you want to do that other one? I don't know. I guess I'll cut the video off here though for this one, since the next ones are going to be about rebirth. So, all right. I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care.